Now, in college, I definitely got around a little bit, okay? I dated a couple people, and, sometimes it would transpire into a relationship with crazy girls, and sometimes it wouldn't. And one time I went on a date with this girl within the first couple weeks of the school year. Definitely was pretty right off the bat in terms of the school year, and, I just didn't feel like there was anything there. I didn't feel like there was any romance. I didn't feel like there was a connection, so, I told her right after the date, hey, I think that you're a fantastic girl, but you're not my girl, Like, I genuinely wish you the best. I hope you don't get pregnant by an ogre in a swamp somewhere, but I'm not feeling this. I don't feel like this is right for me. I don't feel like it's right for you, so yeah, best of luck. And I thought that it was very obvious that we were done because I never heard from her again. Like, I really hadn't heard from this chick in a long time romantically. Obviously, every now and then I would see her and we'd stop and catch up and have a normal conversation about life or, like, how school was going, but it was by no means ever anything romantic. I think the most romantic thing we talked about after our date was, how weird Valentine's Day is and how all I want to do is have a pizza and make out. And she's like, I want to be taken on a romantic date. And I was like, oh, good for you. Go make it happen then, because it ain't going to be with me. So, I thought everything was squared away, and the date was just awkward. And for everybody asking why the date was awkward, it was just one of those things where somebody was really, really hot, so you asked them on a date, not knowing what they were going to talk like, and then they just were really boring, Like, don't get me wrong, the girl was super cute, but the entire date, she talked about horses. She was from, like, a small town in Utah, so she really didn't know, like, how to talk about anything else. And whenever I would try to talk about something that I was into or, like, figure out if we had anything in common, it would just always go back to this, like, small town in Utah. And I'm trying to date a girl, not a town in Utah. So like I said, after that date, I'm like, yay, we can stop. We can be friends. Sure, we can be friends. No big deal, but we're not dating. We're not. I'm sorry, if that breaks your heart, then I guess your heart has to be broken, but sometimes you got to do what's good for the boys. Not to mention, you wanted to go out every Saturday, and Saturdays are reserved for the boys, okay? Come on, everyone knows Saturdays are for the boys. Girls out there, if your boyfriend is busy on a Saturday, it's because it's reserved for him to kiss the homies. But regardless, I'm pretty sure that I made it obvious that we were done. We hadn't been on a date in about 8 months, but one day, I'm chilling, talking to a girl that I was in class with. Not even a girlfriend, not anyone that I was interested in at all. Like, literally at all. I was just sitting there talking to this girl that I have a class with, and this giant guy with, like, a pretty thick, not country accent, but you could clearly tell he was a farm, comes up to me and he goes, "Who do you think you are, two-timing my sister?" And I'm like, huh? Wait, what? Hello? Like, are you talking to me? Like, I'm kind of looking around trying to make sure I'm the one he's talking to, and I'm looking at the bench, and I look at him, and I'm like, me? And he goes, yeah, you know that you're two-timing my sister right now. Don't act like I'm not going to tell her. And I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? I'm not dating anybody. I think you got the wrong guy. Maybe I look like your sister's boyfriend, but I'm telling you, I don't have a girlfriend, so I don't know how I could be two-timing your sister, right? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I really, really have no clue what's going on in your head that makes me think I'm two-timing your sister, but I don't have a girlfriend. And he gets up in my face and he's like, oh yeah, you think I don't know who you are, Ryan? And says my last name. He's like, you think I don't know that you've been dating my sister for the entire year? And my classmate who I was talking to, I was pretty good friends with, looks confused. And she's like, they're not dating. And the guy's like, oh yeah, is that what he told you? Probably because you're just some floozy that he uses for fun on the side while he's dating my sister. You're lucky I don't fight you right now. I'm gonna tell my sister. And I'm like, dog, you can tell your sister. We went on one date at the start of the year, and that was it. Like, that was literally it. I don't know what she told you we are, but we are definitely not anything that you're gonna fight me over, because we weren't even dating, bro. What are you on about? So regardless, here I am getting yelled at by some giant, like, farmer boy in the middle of my college while talking to this girl, right? And apparently I've been dating his sister for 9 months. I haven't talked to his sister in like 3 weeks. I don't know what's going on. I am 50 shades of bamboozled, confused, perplexed, everything you can say to be absolutely flabbergastedly confused. And next thing I know, another farmer boy comes running up, but this one's a little bit older, right? He's got a balding head. It almost looks like he's got a horseshoe on his noggin, because that's the pattern that his hair is growing in. And here I am confused, and he's like, oh, so what? You think you can just dodge meeting our family while you're dating my daughter? And I'm like, whose daughter am I dating, dude? I don't know what you guys are talking about. So they're all yelling at me. And next thing I know, the girl who I went on a date on at the start of the year, who I barely talked to since, walks up to me and is like, oh, I can see you met my family. I'm like, yeah, why do they think we're dating? Because we're not dating. Like, we haven't been dating. And she's like, well, I just felt like we had like good vibes after our date. So I didn't want to tell them that like we weren't dating. And I was like, so you've told them that we've been dating for 9 months when we haven't even talked? Like, we've had maybe 2 or 3 conversations not related to dating at all. And she's like, well, I just felt like we had such a special connection. And I'm like, dog, we didn't have that connection because I told you, hey, I'm not interested in you romantically. Like, I could pull up the text. Don't make me, like, what do you mean? And the parents and the brother look really confused, and they're like, wait, hold on, what? And I'm like, I'm not dating your daughter. And they're like, well, she was telling us that, you know, you guys were talking about, like, getting engaged and all this stuff. And I was like, that was not the case. I don't know what this girl's plan was, really. I mean, let's really break this down. Oh, I'm embarrassed I'm in college and I'm not married, so I'll make up a story that this guy is dating me when he doesn't know that we're dating, and somehow this is gonna work out with us being together, even though I don't talk to the guy and he said he's not interested. But I'll just tell my family that we're in a serious relationship. Not really sure what the girl's plan was. So after this giant confusion goes on, I'm still confused. And of course, everyone else sitting in like the quad thing of the school that was there just thinks that I'm some giant douche canoe who like played this girl and was, you know, trying to date other people with like, I don't even know. But I'm sure I looked like a giant douche because if you see a bunch of dudes yelling at a dude in the middle of like, you know, the quad of your college about how he's two-timing on their sister, you're probably going to think he's guilty. I'm just saying, I probably would, so I don't blame anyone who did. But I wasn't dating his sister. Like, I still don't know where she got this idea from. So after this, the dad asked me to go to dinner with him so we could talk about it. And I'm like, okay, I'm not dating your daughter, though. Like, just to be very clear, you know that, right? And he's like, yes, I know, but, you know, I just want to talk to you. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'll go to dinner, we can talk about it, but I'm not dating your, like, I need you to know very clearly, me, no date daughter, okay? Like, that's not gonna happen. So, I get in the car with this farmer boy in this, F-150, and he's like, where do you want to go to eat? And I'm like, dog, you asked me to go eat. I don't want to be here. Like, you're picking where we're eating, okay? I hate when people do that. They ask you to go do something, and you get in the car, like, what should we do? I don't know, man. You're the one who made me get ready and want to go out. So, like, you pick. I'm not doing with this. So, we go to a restaurant, we sit down, and the dad goes, so my daughter's known to lie a little bit. And I'm like, haha, really? You know, I couldn't tell from the fact that you were going to fight me in the middle of the quad because she told you that I was going to marry her or something when we only went on one date. Like, I never knew that your daughter might have a slight exaggeration problem considering we were never dating. And he's like, but, you know, she does have a kind heart. And I'm like, sure, dude, I don't know your daughter like that. Sure, she has a kind heart. She made it up. I don't know why she made it up. Sure, she might have a kind heart. And he's like, I just really want you to consider taking her on another date. And I'm like, bro, listen to what you're asking me to do right now. You just came down here to meet me because you felt like I was avoiding you because she lied to you for months and months and months on end. And you think that that's a good impression on me to go, well, she's kind of hot, so I might as well give it a second go. Like, call me crazy here. The second a girl makes up a giant relationship to, you know, I don't know, convince everybody that we're dating for a long period of time when we're not, kind of kills any attraction that I have to her. Like, any attraction I might have possibly had to possibly maybe want to date your daughter is definitely out the window when she starts making stuff up like this. But he's like, you know, she's a sweet girl. She'd make a great wife. I'm like, dog, I'm 18. Sure, maybe down the line, I'm not interested in somebody that's going to make up a relationship, 1. 2, I'm 18. What do you want me to commit to, bro? I can't even commit to which college I want to go to for the next 6 months. You expect me to make a lifetime decision right now? It's just not going to happen. So he gets a little frustrated with me. He's like, oh, so what? You just let her on? And I'm like, we were never talking. I think her dad was having a really hard time wrapping his mind around the fact that me and his daughter were never dating. So in the middle of this restaurant, he's like accusing me of leading her on, all this crazy stuff. And so finally, I'm like, all right, dude, well, your daughter is unhinged, and clearly you are too. So I'm leaving now, but it's been an honor. Thank you for dinner. And I get up and I walked back to college, which took me like an hour. But when you're on a date with a crazy girl's dad, I'm calling it a date because I don't know what else to call it, sometimes you got to do what you got to do to survive. And if that includes walking home, something you got to deal with. So back in high school, you would low-key be friends with basically everybody, or at least I was. You know, I had 3-4 friends in every class that I didn't really talk to outside of class, but like I knew everybody pretty well. And there was this girl that I knew that was on the volleyball team, and I'm not gonna lie, she was pretty slim thick, you know, she had it going on, and one of my friends, who was also in that class, started to have a crush on her, and since we were like low-key a friend group in that class, he asked me if I could help wingman him since we were always together, and you know, being the good bro that I am, I was like, of course I will, no problem, absolutely anything to help the boys, and that's how it should be, you know, you should be willing to do just about anything to help the boys. So like I said, us 3 are friends, and I start wingmanning. That's not a word. Wingmanning my boy. I start texting her being like, OMG, isn't he so nice? Like, look, he did all the science work for us. I would do the worksheets and say I got the answer from him just to make him look smarter. I was really out there being the best wingman money could buy, and he didn't even have to buy me. I was on that free trial membership, all right? Like Hulu Plus with no ads for the first month, you get it for free. That's low-key what he was getting in a friendship. So whatever, I'm wingmanning, and obviously I'm pretty good at wingmanning, not to toot my own horn, but yeah, you know, I kind of am good at it. But regardless, it starts to get, you know, a little awkward in class, but they start to date and talk a ton, and obviously, since I wingman and was kind of involved in getting them to start talking a ton, they start like asking me to hang out and stuff, and no harm, no foul, sure, I'll hang out with them. We don't really have a ton in common. This dude, the way I would describe him is like, he was a good friend to have in science class, you know, but I wouldn't want to hang out with him on a Saturday. He was super athletic, always wearing all the latest Nike gear, you know, going on runs for fun, and like, that wasn't really my crowd in high school. It's still not my crowd. Exercise and fun don't really go side by side, but they asked me to go with the mall with them one day, and I'm like, yeah, sure. No problem, you know, and I didn't really know these people super well. Basically, I knew them well enough to do group projects together, and they knew me well enough to, you know, text me every now and then, but we weren't really friends, so I didn't know what to expect when, like, hanging out with them. And, you know, hanging out with them kind of made me realize that I might have set this dude up with a low-key psychopath, because she was pretty abnormal. So what was used to be, you know, pretty nice in science class, maybe a little bit controlling, comes out as super controlling, because I'm hanging out with them at the mall, and she is low-key, like, getting pissed anytime this dude looks in another direction. He talked to a girl while ordering lunch in the food court, and she was like, I don't know who you think you are to talk to other girls in front of me, but I will not be disrespected like this in my relationship. And the kid, you know, who had this massive crush on her is like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I'll let you order if it's a girl from now on. Like, you know, he's totally buying into it. And I'm kind of sitting here looking at it like, oh, this girl low-key might not be that great. But yeah, I chalk it up to her having a bad day, being in a bad mood. You know, I had never seen that much of her in science class, so whatever. I just forget it, and like, I'm like, wow, that's a little bit bizarre that she got pressed that her boyfriend ordered food from someone of the opposite gender. Like, if your boyfriend is willing to leave you after he orders McDonald's from a chick, there's something more wrong than just, you know, the fact that you're jealous, all right? Like, why would you want to be with somebody that's trying to replace you in the drive-thru window, you know? Like, that's just really not a good sign for a future of a relationship. Yeah, you know, me and Eric are just taking some time off. He fell in love with the Wendy's girl. No, not the redhead in the commercials, the girl that takes our order every time we go get a 4 for $4. Quite devastating. Whatever, though. I end up sending him a meme a little bit later on Twitter, through Twitter DMs, that basically is something along the lines of when your girlfriend won't let you talk to anyone of the opposite gender, and it was like, just a silly picture, you know. And I mean, if you and your friends don't give each other like a little bit of crap, then you're not really friends, at least in my opinion. Like, I don't know about you, me and my friends bond through talking trash. It's like one of our favorite things to do to each other is, you know, give each other a hard time. So I sent it to him, and it's supposed to be a joke. Like, it's not really saying that your girlfriend sucks. And I have a class with her and not him in the next hour, and I walk in and she's just like giving me this pissed off look, and I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? And she goes, oh, you think making fun of me is funny? And I'm like, oh, what do you mean? This girl had already also gotten access to this student athlete's Twitter account and was reading all the messages that I was sending. So I sent the meme about when your girlfriend is crazy, and she instantly had logged into his account and read it and is like, why are you talking crap about me to my boyfriend? You know, just low-key a little obsessive. He can't talk to other girls. He can't order food from other people, you know. He can't have private Twitter DMs. No secrets allowed in a relationship. And I'm going to keep it a buck with you guys. Anybody out there that's dating, you know, you want some secrets, okay? I really don't need to know, like, my girlfriend's bowel movement schedule. I do not need to know when my girlfriend is dropping dukes, all right? It doesn't gross me out. It's just like, you don't want to know when I'm taking a shit either, all right? We can all agree that in a relationship, sometimes it's okay to have secrets on both sides, you know? Girls don't need to know everything I'm doing. I don't need to know everything they're doing. We're squared away. Every now and then the secrets are important. If the secret affects the other person, you know, that changes. But that's enough relationship advice, low-key. I'm not giving any girl I'm dating my, like, Twitter login. You don't need to be reading my stupid DMs with Ben of us sending stupid TikToks back and forth till 2 in the morning. So whatever, I kind of realized that maybe getting them to date isn't a good idea. And I realized that I might have realized this too late. I said realize a lot there. I realized that it doesn't even sound like realize is a real real life word. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I get to science class and they're both giving me the cold shoulder. And keep in mind, we sit at a table together and they're both just ignoring me, you know? And I'm like, okay, come on, guys. Like, I get it. The meme wasn't funny, but come on. And the girl makes the guy pull out like a pad of paper and write down like, I won't be talking to you because I only talk to people that respect my girlfriend. And I can tell by the look on his face that he really doesn't want to do this. And I'm like, all right, man. You know, I get it. You gotta side with the lady. No harm, no foul. We weren't super close anyways. And I'm like, all right, I'm sorry. Can you at least come explain the situation to the teacher so I can get out of the group, you know? And like they whisper in each other's ears all sassily and he writes down, no, we're just gonna tell him that you didn't do any work on the project. So now for like my grade's gonna suffer because this girl can't handle the fact that I sent a meme about her low-key being psycho-possessive to her boyfriend. And you know, every girl's a little psycho-possessive. Every dude's a little weird too. You know, everybody's got their problems. I can send a meme about you to your boyfriend and he shouldn't dump you. If your boyfriend's gonna dump you because I sent him a meme, you're probably not a good girlfriend. So whatever, I get kicked out of my science group for hooking up this girl with this guy. And I go to the science teacher and luckily, he liked me. I can't talk today. And he decides to give me a new group. So I get my new science group and it's whatever, no big deal. But one thing that I noticed from the side is after I stop hanging out with them, she basically changes this dude's entire personality. Like I said, he was like a student athlete, you know, always wearing like athletic shorts, always was talking about working out and all this stuff. And she like basically changed his personality into this, you know, skater dude. He quit all the varsity sports he was on. Like, she low-key took over his life. He wasn't allowed to talk to any of his friends. He wasn't allowed to talk to any girls at all in like any scenario, basically at all, or his girlfriend would kill him. And she basically just like sucked the joy out of his life. And this dude that I used to know, I obviously had hung out with him a couple times. You know, he was a pretty cool dude. Like, we weren't besties by any means, but when you see somebody that's pretty chill that you've hung out with a lot get brainwashed by what appears to be a psychopathic girl, you want to say something. So one day I'm on Xbox and me and him used to play COD a lot, and I see he's on and I invite him to the party and I'm like, bro, what is going on with you, man? Like, the past 2 months, you know, quit your favorite sports teams. You like never talk to anybody anymore. I haven't seen you on Xbox, and we used to play pretty consistently. I'm like, what's up? And you know, he starts telling me about how she won't let him do anything he likes and like how his parents want him to break up with her, but he feels bad because she always says that, you know, if he breaks up with her, like, she's gonna lose it and he's the rock holding her world together. And I'm like, IG, you're low-key 15, you're a little young to be anyone's rock holding their world together. Like, if she's making you do things you don't want to do and your family hates her, there's probably a reason. If all your friends and your family hate the person you're dating, it's probably because they're just not the right person for you, all right? Maybe they're not evil, maybe they're not the worst person to ever exist, but your friends and family low-key kind of know what's up. So I tell them, like, look, man, if you're not happy, then, like, there's no reason to be doing it, you know, no matter how crazy she is. And so he's like, yeah, you're right, I didn't mean to change, like, I hope you can forgive me. And as somebody that's dated my fair share of crazy chicks, I was like, yeah, dude, no problem, I get it. Everybody thinks with the wrong head sometimes. That's just the reality of the situation. So he breaks up with her. I don't know if my talk was really the catalyst, but like a couple days later, he breaks up with her and she comes to school a sobbing mess. Every class, she's breaking down crying for attention. You know, teachers are having to stop the class and cause everything. And obviously, she's like screaming at him in lunch, just overall causing some self-embarrassment. But what she did next is still low-key one of the most psychotic things that I've ever seen. But I am going to save that for part 2. Anyways, after a bunch of unsuccessful passes this girl made at trying to get her ex back, including spam calling him, you know, going psychotic, low-key, nothing seemed to be working. So she did the only thing that she sought necessary. I guess after spam calling him all that stuff for a week wasn't enough. And, you know, even though we were in high school, her and this dude were low-key active in certain activities that can produce offspring, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. And I think everybody's heard at least one horror story from their friend where the girl will like fake a pregnancy test and be like, oh my god, it's yours, you have to stay with me. And usually that only prolongs the relationship by like another week, because most people realize that, you know, this girl is faking a pregnancy to try to get him to stay and there's no actual baby. And I guess this girl had thought that through. The good old fake pregnancy test wasn't gonna be enough. No siree, no ma'am. Instead, what this girl decides to do to try to get my friend back in a relationship with her is she goes and does something with somebody else and purposely tries to get pregnant. Yeah, you heard me correctly. This girl went, my boyfriend my boyfriend just broke up with me. Better go get pregnant with somebody else's kid to try to make him stay. Yes, that's right. I'm not kidding when I said that this girl is low-key the most psychotic ex of all time. And at the time this is all going down, though, we don't know this. So miraculously, this girl somehow manages to get pregnant with another dude and doesn't tell anyone about the other dude. She doesn't even tell the other dude about the fact that, she purposely tried to, have a baby. So she gets pregnant and finds out, gets a real pregnancy test, comes to my friend like 2 months after they've broken up. At this point, he already has a new girlfriend. His life's getting together. He's happy again. He's playing sports. And she drops the bomb on him and goes, look, I'm 2 months pregnant and you know what was going on 2 months ago. So, I think you might want to rethink this whole breakup thing. And he's like, oh my God, his life is destroyed. He comes from this like super conservative family. They're pissed. He's realizing that he's going to have to quit his sport to become a dad. The girl he's dating, could you imagine you're dating someone and come to find out they're pregnant, or not pregnant because guys can't get pregnant. You get what I'm saying, all right? Like if I was dating a girl and I found out she was pregnant with another dude's baby, that low-key puts a damper on things a little bit, all right? Things get a little complicated, especially when you're in high school. And this guy's life is in ruins, man. I talked to him once, after he thought he's gonna be a dad, and, he's trying to fake a smile and be like, no, we'll figure it out. But he kind of realized at this point the girl's psychotic. And out of all the girls you could have a kid with at high school, the psychotic girl is not the best bet. If you're gonna take your pick, just overall, don't have a kid in high school. I feel like that doesn't need to be explained to most of you, but just in case you got questionable moral guides, don't have a kid in high school. It usually doesn't end well. I mean, if you can send it, don't send it. Just don't do it. Let's avoid babies in high school for the most part. But if you're gonna have a girl pregnant with your kid in high school, the least girl that you want to pick is the psychotic one. The one that's willing to key her name into the side of your car because you gave the tip to the IHOP waitress and she thought it was flirting. That type of crazy is the crazy you want to avoid having kids with, You want to avoid having kids with any type of woman that is willing to just destroy your car in a fit of rage. And he's trying to act happy, how excited he is to be a dad, but I can just tell he's capping. My mom is friends with his mom and low-key is also getting the scoop, and his mom is crying to the other moms about how her son's life is ruined and how she's failed as a mother. It's really not good. This man is struggling. But for 9 months, this guy is a great boyfriend. He's taking her out to get manicures and pedicures every week, and he's taking care of this girl that he thinks is carrying his baby, and he's being sweet. He's doing all the boyfriend stuff. He took her to all the school dances. This is a dope dude in the grand scheme of things, all right? Even though he knows this girl's crazy, he's like, well, it's the mother of my child, so I guess I'll be the bigger man and just take care of her, at least until my kid comes out. Then, we can deal with the whole psychotic mother thing, but for now, I'm just going to be nice to the girl who's pregnant with my kid. And he's a super nice boyfriend. We didn't really talk a lot about it because obviously it wasn't something that he wanted to talk about a ton at the time. For 9 months, this dude, is really putting his differences behind him and taking care of this girl. And the day comes where inevitably, the baby has to come out of the mom. That's a weird way to say give birth, but whatever. We're all vibing here. We're enjoying the story time. So this dude brings his whole family to the hospital. Her whole family's there. They're really trying to come around. They're like, well, look, if we're going to meet our grandkid, then let's meet it. And like I've said, this dude is a extremely white dude, all right? His family low-key probably could star in ads for political campaigns where it's your people across America. And it's just this kid, smiling with a Letterman jacket on, super American guy. And she's a super white girl. And the baby comes out Hispanic. This girl was so stupid that she got pregnant with another dude's baby and didn't even pick the right race, bro. If you're gonna ruin your life, all right? If you're purposely gonna get pregnant in high school to try to keep your high school boyfriend in love with you, you're already pretty dumb. But if you're not even gonna try to get the race of the dude who gets you pregnant correct, it's pretty obvious what's going on, no one's gonna be that stupid. So she immediately starts trying to explain that he probably has like some Cuban in him, and he's like, nah, we're getting a DNA test. And she starts crying, and she's like, fine, it's not your kid, but like, haven't you come to be in love with me over these last few months? Keep in mind, this baby just got delivered. This poor baby's first words that it's like hearing a couple hours after being born, all right? He was nice. He didn't start yelling at her right after she gave birth, but, you know, he definitely told her a little bit later. So like a couple hours this baby is being born, his mom is getting dumped because she low-key got pregnant to try to keep her boyfriend with her, and just is not the sharpest tool in the shed and didn't do the math. Like, how did you not realize that you got pregnant with Manny's baby and you're dating, you know, Richard, all right? Like, it's just, the math does not add up. I really don't understand what this girl was thinking at all. Low-key, my friend is a little bit hyped, you know, after patiently leaving the hospital, his mom was crying happy tears, and like, Loki was super hyped. He's super hyped that he doesn't have to be a dad anymore, because that puts a little bit of a damper on your senior years changing diapers, I ain't gonna lie. And, you know, Loki kind of actually got to have a good experience because all this happened before we were seniors in high school, so he still had a year to pull it together, you know. Like, Loki ended up working out. He dated a crazy chick. Sure, she got pregnant with another dude's kid to try to keep him around, but at the end of the day, he escaped, and he got a great story out of it. Also, I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking right now, what else happened, all right? It can't just end there. Now there's a baby just floating around that low-key was being used to keep a relationship going, and now that's not around, so what ends up happening to this kid? So my friend escapes a life of being tied down by somebody that psychotic, thankfully, you know. He goes on, he does his thing, goes to college, has a new girlfriend now, very swag-tastic, 10 out of 10, good job. But, the girl, you know, is a little bit more of a train wreck. So after this next year of her raising this kid, also, could you imagine being the kid's actual dad? Like, for 9 months, you haven't heard from this girl at all since one night at a party. She hits you up and goes, oh, by the way, I was pretending that you were my other boyfriend's kid, but he low-key found out about it because I'm a moron. And, you're a dad. Congrats. We'll come by and meet daddy on Monday. Like, that low-key has gotta suck. But, you know, she tried to make it work with the dad of the kid. Didn't end up working out, but, you know, he ended up loving the kid a lot. And the mom ended up running off, and I'm not even kidding. I'm pretty sure is in South Africa performing with a circus now. So, yeah, definitely a little bit mentally unstable. But from what I've heard from my friend who, you know, she tried to convince was a dad, the kid is actually living with his dad, loves him a lot. His grandma and grandpa take care of him, and it ended up working out for the kid. He's not being raised with his mom, which, I mean, is a good thing, because I feel like we can all agree if your mom is that stupid to come up with this plan and not execute it, then you probably shouldn't be raised by her. Like, that's just low-key a serial killer waiting to happen. So that in 2 parts is the crazy ex-girlfriend of all time. Like I said, I probably could have done one massive video, but I had some stuff I want to throw in, you know. Moral of the story is, if you're gonna date someone, you really can't predict if they're crazy, so there's nothing you can do to prevent it. But always get a DNA test done on your kids, I guess, would would be the best moral you could take away from this story. I'm not really sure if that's a good one. Like, I'm not sure if you guys are gonna be vibing with that, you know, if the comment section's gonna be filled with people being like, oh, I'll always get a DNA test thanks to Scrubby. So today we're going to be talking about my psycho ex-girlfriend. I actually have a lot of these. I don't know what it is with me, but I'm just attracted to crazy women. Not once have I ever been chillin', billin', doing what I gotta do, and not been dating an absolute psychopath. Maybe it speaks more to my terrible life choices, but regardless, you guys have really enjoyed whenever I date crazy girls, so it's not like I have a reason to stop. Meaning that if I am flirting with you, just assume that I think you're actually insane, because it's the stories that I really enjoy, you know? But regardless, this is actually my most recent ex. I'm not gonna say when we broke up, because they know about my channel, and they watch my videos, and the last thing I need is people, you know, coming after me, all right? They're gonna come after me. I'm gonna get murdered live on television. Regardless, this ex-girlfriend of mine, she's a pretty cool person, you know, if you subtract the fact that she was into some weird stuff. She was really into K-pop. And when I mean really into K-pop, I mean she would make fan accounts and tweet at them constantly and talk about how badly she wanted their ramen noodles in her mouth, except it wasn't noodles, if you know what I mean. And you know, I was usually pretty chill with this. I didn't really mind because I get it, you know? People are fans of things. Yes, it made me a little bit uncomfortable that she wanted to choke on an Asian man's noodle, especially when she was dating me. But regardless, you know, for some reason this didn't raise red flags. I'm not the smartest, all right? When things are coming in where I'm supposed to be like, oh, this is a bad idea, I'm like, no, power on. You only live once. Make bad decisions. Do terrible things. So yeah, my girlfriend was absolutely obsessed with this K-pop group. And, you know, everything was okay, I guess. The relationship was relatively normal, nothing too wild, until she found out that the K-pop group was gonna be in Albuquerque, New Mexico, all right? Which is a pretty big city, like 16 miles away. No big deal. And by 16, I mean a lot more than that. I meant like 16 hours. Holy balls, that's a big difference. But regardless, she's like, oh my god, we need to go see them. And I'm like, you know what? You have fun. K-pop isn't really my thing. No offense, but you know, I'm not really sitting here going, yo, what up? Please, 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 can we go see the BTS group? Please, please, please. And I have nothing against K-pop. Like, I don't think it's even a bad thing. I just think it's just not my thing, you know? You guys know what I mean? It's like when certain people are like, oh, I really love to watch, I don't know, Jake Paul. Like, I don't dislike Jake Paul. Watch Jake Paul if you want, I guess. I don't really care. But a 16-hour road trip to go see a K-pop group? No. I'm really fine. Don't take it personally, but it's just not my thing. Driving 16 hours for anything isn't my thing. I wouldn't drive 16 hours to see my favorite band, let alone a band that I don't really care about that much, right? But anyways, the days are getting closer to the concert, and the day of, or the day before, I should say, I get a call from her mom, and she says, hey, Ryan, have you seen, and says the girl's name, because my car's gone, and she's not here. And I'm like, no, I'm at home, I haven't talked to her, but I bet you that she's going to this BTS concert. And her mom's like, well, I didn't let her take the car. Like, she stole my car to go, which should have been the red flag. That should have been the red alarms going off. You shouldn't date this girl. Anyone willing to steal their mom's car to go watch a K-pop group probably isn't the type of person that you want to be with forever, you know? Not worth the commitment. But she went missing, didn't tell her parents where she was going, stole her parents' car to drive 16 hours to New Mexico to see this group, right? And, you know, I was like, that's kind of bizarre. Maybe a little bit weird. Stealing your parents' car to go do this is strange. But whatever, she's texting me, so her mom's like, I mean, it's kind of shitty, but whatever. She has the car, and so much I can do. I don't want to report it stolen and get her arrested. So she's texting me, sending me Snapchats. She's so excited to see this K-pop group. She keeps swearing I should have come with her. And then she says, OMG, guess what? I found out what hotel they're staying at. And I'm like, that's weird. This is where we're drawing the line. You don't go find where famous people are staying and then go to the hotel. And she's like, I'm gonna go find them. It's destiny. I'm supposed to be with these boys. And I'm like, you're telling your boyfriend that it's destiny to go find the hotel of famous people and then be in love with them. Do you not understand how that's weird? And she's like, no, but like, if it doesn't work, then I want you. And it's at this point I realize that I need to break up with this girl. But the only problem is, how do you break up with the girl willing to stalk famous people and go to their hotel room? What do you do? Hey, sorry, it's just not working out. She's like, oh, don't worry, I'm just gonna follow you forever and kill your next wife. No, not next wife, your wife. What? I wasn't married, I promise, guys, I swear. So I keep getting updates, and she's outside of this hotel and is like frantically searching, trying to figure out where these guys are staying, trying to find their hotel room, which is getting progressively crazier, right? And it's at this point where I realize that I have to do something, because I don't know what she's gonna do if she finds out where these K-pop guys are. So I ask her what the hotel is, and I call them and basically say, hey, you guys are staying here, or like this group is staying here. My I said ex-girlfriend, thank God, is outside and she's being crazy. I don't know what you want to do. Like, I don't want her to get arrested because she hasn't done anything wrong, but you know, it's kind of a super awkward situation for me, right? So whatever, they end up making her leave the premise. They find her, I don't know how, and she's pissed at me. She claims that I ruined her chance at a future and that I've destroyed her any chance of her ever falling in love with these K-pop guys. I'm like, they speak Korean. What are you gonna do? Talk about what do you talk about? I don't know what, I was panicking, guys. It was really terrifying. It was the absolute worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So she gets back from this experience and of course is furious with me. And I text her mom and basically tell her what happened, and her mom's like, no, you did the right thing, I promise. But she wants to talk to me. She wants to have a conversation about this. And I'm like, you know what? Fine, I guess I owe you a conversation. We did date for a little bit. Actually, we hadn't even broken up yet. This is where it gets interesting. So we're having a conversation. She basically says that I have to support her, and now she has to go to another one of their shows on tour to try to meet them, and I have to come with her because I need to be a supportive boyfriend. And I'm like, yeah, about that, lady, I'm not feeling the whole boyfriend thing anymore, all right? I was cool with you running the fan account and tweeting at them and whatever, but I'm definitely not cool with, you know, stalking these guys across the country while they're on tour and trying to get my girlfriend to fall in love with another dude. That's where I draw the line, you know? I think it's really not cool. It's really not chill. It's just not something I'm down to be a part of, right? And she takes that the wrong way. She starts screaming about how I'm a terrible guy and I'm a douchebag, and she's gonna tell everyone how terrible I am, and I'm like, you know, Most people know you're crazy, especially since, you know, I kind of went around telling people about this. How could I not? For everybody like, oh, you talk shit about your girlfriend? She was definitely, I was breaking up with her regardless, and she went to another state to stalk famous people and thought it was gonna turn out well, alright? I have the right to talk about it with people. But regardless, she gets pissed and starts screaming at me in the middle of Cafe Rio, which is like this Mexican restaurant, you know? And everybody's staring at me, and everybody automatically assumes that I did something wrong, because when you're seeing a girl yell at a guy in a restaurant about how he's a bad boyfriend, you automatically assume I'm guilty. So the manager comes over and asks me to leave, and I'm like, you know what, fine, I'm out. I usually love this Cafe Rio, but whatever, I'll just Postmates it next time, alright? So I go home and I'm like, oh my god, this was the worst experience of my entire life. And I'm still getting angry texts from her about how I'm a terrible boyfriend and I'm not a good guy and how I'm just genuinely the worst person to ever exist in the history of ever. And I'm like, you know what, fine, okay, alright, that's cool. And she ended up selling all of her material possessions and buying a car and literally following them around on tour. And shocker, surprise, turn of the century, no rich multimillionaire superstars fell in love with some random girl that was obsessed with them. I know it's crazy, you're probably thinking, wow, that's not the love story ending I was expecting. Wow, wild, isn't it? That no one fell in love with her because they're the most random, crazy people ever. And as soon as she was back, she started hitting me up saying that she was so sorry for ever leaving me and how I was right. And I was like, no, 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 no. You don't get to go crazy, scream at me in the middle of a Mexican restaurant, and then go on a random tour across the world chasing Korean pop stars, and then because they don't fall in love with you, get to come crawling back, all right? That's not who I am. That's not who I want to be. Once you're done with me, you're done with me. It's over. It's capiche. It's donezo. You don't get to be that crazy and get away with it, alright? We didn't let FuzzyTube get away with being that delusional, and I'm certainly not gonna let you, okay? Regardless, she keeps texting me, and a couple months later, I ended up just blocking her number because I just didn't want to see the messages anymore. Like, I would wake up to 30 text messages all begging me to get back together with her because, you know, obviously we were just supposed to be together since her K-pop delusion didn't work. And you know what? Maybe she moved to Korea. I don't know. I haven't talked to her in a while, but that'd be pretty funny if she started her own K-pop group just to try to meet them at, like, a K-pop party. K-pop party. I don't know if those are things. Do you think K-pop people just get together and party sometimes because they're the only people who can relate to each other's issues, you know? I don't know. That's just a thought, okay? Don't judge me too hard. So this story takes place in college. That's right. All my craziest girlfriends were in college because I feel like there's something to be said for when they're no longer with their parents. You know, like when crazy girls move out of the house and they get their first taste of freedom, they're like, ah, no more chains on me. Looks like I can go absolutely full whack job mode now. I don't know what it is. So if your sister's crazy, at least a little bit, when she goes to college, she's definitely going to be stalking boys. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. I just follow them, you know, and that's the rule. When you go to college, crazy girls get crazier. Anyways, in college, you know, I was dating around a little bit. I had a girlfriend that was a witch who tried to put a curse on me, and then there was a couple crazy ex-girlfriends in between now and then. But this one was definitely, I think this was the last girl I dated in college before I moved back home and dropped out. So, like, this is the end of my college days when I was really just chilling, profiling, doing good on YouTube, just started blowing up. Me and Benji, you know, we're hanging out every day, playing some Fortnite back when it was still fun. And one of the things that Benji and I would do is whenever I would go to class, which was not very often, I would just FaceTime him while I was walking. And whenever he would see a girl, he'd be like, yo, go talk to her. And obviously, I'm not the type of man to be a little bitch, so my little brother is not going to punk me out of talking to some women. Come on, what do I look like, a 5-year-old, 6-year-old? I don't know. What do year-olds do? So regardless, one day I was walking and he sees this girl. He's like, yo, go talk to her. And I was like, you know what, Ben? I will, because I ain't a bitch, and that's just how we bullin'. And when your little brother calls you out and tells you to do something, you kind of got to do it because you don't want him to be more man than you know? He already lives in Norway. That's like 8 bonus points on coolness, so I had to one-up him. So I go up to her and we start talking, and she's pretty chill, I guess. We have a pretty normal conversation. She seems normal, which is always a red flag. Whenever you're talking to a girl, she should be at least a little bit weird. If they're too normal, they're just crazy. Like, any normal girl I've ever talked to or dated has at least one weird thing they do. If they're too normal, like they're too chill, trust me, it's because there's a crazy lunatic in there getting ready with an axe to chop off your genitals. No joke, no scam. So whatever, I get her number, and we're just kind of hanging out, texting every now and then, and everything goes pretty chill. We hang out a couple times, and then one night, obviously, we end up back at my friend's house, because remember, I had a crazy roommate, so most of the time I would spend the night at my friend's house, and he lived off campus. He lived in like the basement of this 3-story house. I don't know how to explain it, but we were in the basement, so the windows were kind of like on the ground level, if that makes sense. That'll be important later. But regardless, we were hanging out there, and we ended up making out on the couch for a couple hours. You know, I ain't gonna lie, Scrubby was getting it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? How it's going in. You know how it be sometimes. So whatever. We made out for a couple hours, and I thought everything was pretty chill and normal after that. And after we made out for a couple hours, I just got busy. Like, I just did not have time to talk all the time. I didn't have time to go out every night. It wasn't personal. Like, I wasn't sitting there ghosting her. I legitimately was just busy. School was coming to an end. I was taking finals. YouTube was taking off. I was grinding. Like, it was just not the right time to really be in, like, a relationship. You know what I mean? But she took it really personally and was, like, blowing up my phone. And if I didn't answer in, like, 30 seconds, she would freak out, which makes it worse. Like, I don't know about you. I'm not the type of person, I kind of suck at texting, I'm not going to lie, but if somebody starts, like, complaining to me about how slow I am to reply and getting mad that I don't respond instantly, like, not even giving me 5 minutes to reply, that just pisses me off and makes me want to respond even less. Like, chill, give me a second to respond at least. Like, your text hasn't even delivered yet, and you're already like, hello, hello, hello. Nah, like that, I'm not down with that, okay? So she's putting all this awkward pressure on me to respond to every text message, asking, like, what are we? I'm like, dude, we made out one night. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna marry you. Like, I'm not popping down on one knee for a decent makeout session in a box of KFC. I mean, maybe if it was Popeye's chicken, we could have the discussion. But it wasn't, so therefore, there's no commitment here. So whatever, like I said, I was just busy, and I tell her this, and she starts being like, no, you're not. You're in the library right now. And I'm like, hey, how did you know I was in the library? Like, I was in the library hanging out with a couple friends, and she had texted me asking, like, what I was doing, and I like, lied. I kind of capped, I'm not gonna lie, and was like, oh, you know, I'm in my room studying. And she's like, no, you're not. You're in the library. And I start looking around freaking out because that means that this girl can see me right now. And, like, what a weird thing to do. Hey, what are you doing? Like, waiting for them to, like, make an excuse. You can be like, no, I'm watching you all along. That's just creepy. If you admit to, like, spying on me to try to catch me in a lie, you're a weirdo, and I'm not messing with it. I'm not a big fan of you being like, yeah, that's right. I know where you are. I asked you that to see what was going on, and you played right into my trap. This is my trap card. Reverse Uno. When I have your head in a box in my freezer, you're gonna remember this and regret it. Like, let's be honest here. So whatever, she comes over, we're talking, and it's an okay conversation, I guess, but at this point, I'm just not really down to hang out. Like, even if I wasn't busy, I'm really not about hanging out with people that go to the library to try to find me and stalk me and figure out where I am at all times. That's about a 0 out of 10 from me. Like, that's a good way to not have a friendship with me. I'm really a pretty easy dude to have a friendship with. I'm not too picky about my friends. The one rule is you can't stalk me. That's literally the only rule I have. And don't hate puppies. But, like, other than that, you're pretty chill. So whatever, we have this conversation, and I think that's the end of it. And then that night we go out and we're hanging out at this kid's house. Like, it's kind of a little bit of a party, I guess. And she obviously pulls up because that's my luck. And we have another conversation. She's like, hey, like, do you want to go make out? And I'm like, yeah, no. Which obviously does not make her too happy, but let's put this in perspective. I made out with you once. You text me 35 times a day if I don't respond in the first 30 seconds. Then you try to pull me with the trap card where you're watching me study with my friends and then are like, what are you doing right now? To try to, like, trick me? Yeah, nah, that's not the type of person I'm interested in hanging out with or making out with. I'm not swapping saliva with Sylvester Stallone in a trench coat spying on me from across the street. I'm not down with it. So that makes her really, really upset, and she's like, wow, whatever. Like, I guess I'll see you at the dorm tonight. And so I kind of am like, oh, I'm not staying at the dorm tonight. Which, I mean, I didn't tell her I was staying at my friend's house, but it was pretty obvious because when I wasn't at my dorm, I was at my friend's house. So I guess she could put 2 and 2 together and realize, like, I wasn't going to be in my dorm, which meant I was probably going to be in my friend's house, which is in the basement. And like I said, the windows are on the ground level, and that's really important. So now we're going to get to that. So whatever, she's mad at me. I'm like, whatever. People are mad at me all the time. I'm not really too pressed about it. Like, it's kind of a known fact when you're a YouTuber who makes fun of people. People are always going to be mad at you for one reason or another. It's just kind of part of the job. So I was used to it. Not in real life per se. Like, in real life, people weren't mad at me as often. But when someone would get mad at me in real life, it wasn't exactly like I was like, oh no, someone's mad at me. Whatever, people get triggered. It's part of life. But anyways, we go back to his house and we're hanging out, and the night goes on and I fall asleep on the couch, which is like where I normally slept. But from the couch, I can kind of see the window on the ground floor.
And the ground floor window, for whatever reason, in my friend's like basement apartment didn't lock. And we just figured no one's ever going to try to crawl through a basement window because, like, hey, if you're breaking into the house and you're crawling through the basement, you're starting at the wrong place. Like, no one ever keeps their really nice stuff in the basement, you know? No one's ever like, my Rolex? Yeah, keep it in my basement for safekeeping, just in case somebody decides to break into my upstairs window instead of crawling through the floor. You know, like, that's just not a common thing. So whatever, we didn't really think about it. So I fall asleep and I have this really, really weird dream that somebody breaks in through the basement window and is like watching me sleep, right? And I don't know how I was having this dream. I don't know why, but I wake up and I see a shadow of like a person right next to the bed, like right now, not the bed, the couch. I was asleep on the couch, right next to the couch. So obviously I freak out a little bit. I'm like, oh my God. And I think it's my friend messing with me. So after I panic for a second, I'm like, bro, that was funny. Except the shadowy figure doesn't respond. Like it just like doesn't reply at all, you know? And so I like freak out and I get off the couch and I back up and then like the figure bolts for the basement window and like crawls out. And everyone's just like, oh, why didn't you go to stop him? Yeah, because when somebody broke into your friend's basement and is watching you sleep, your first thought when they go to run is, better get closer to him? Yeah, no thanks. So whatever, the figure like leaves the room. It was clearly like a person in a hoodie. I'm saying figure because I didn't know who it was at the time. And I'm like, wow, that was really, really creepy. I'm not a fan of that, like whatever. So obviously I post on my Snapchat story and I'm like, holy cow, someone like just was watching me sleep. That's so weird. Just like, it was weird, okay? What do you want me to do when someone's watching you sleep? Just have no reaction at all? No, thank you. So whatever, I posted on my Snapchat story, and the girl who was mad at me, who like would be texting me all the time, I had her added on Snapchat, instantly is like, OMG, is my friend okay? And I'm like, I didn't say I was at my friend's house. Like, I didn't say I was in his basement. And she goes, oh, well, isn't that where you normally stay? And I'm like, well, yeah, but I don't know. It's weird. I said somebody was watching me sleep, and you instantly were like, oh, you're at blah, blah, blah's house, right? Like, I don't know. It was just weird. Something wasn't adding up. Like, if somebody texted me and was like, yo, someone was watching me sleep, my first response would be like, OMG, are you at your friend's house? Like, that's just not what I would expect. Are they okay? Like, I would instantly be like, oh, are you okay? But she jumped straight to my friend whose house I was sleeping at. So then she asked if she can come over, right? And I'm like, I mean, sure. My friend and I are freaking out at this point. Like, we haven't called the cops just because, I don't know, the person left. There's not much we can really do. Like, they're going to be like, so he was in your window. Yes. We'll look for people in windows. Like, I don't really know what they could have done. So whatever, she comes over, but she's there like lightning fast. Like the dorm was probably a 10-15 minute walk away. She's there in like 3 minutes. So now things really aren't adding up. How did you get here so fast if you were supposedly asleep in your dorm room? How did you know where I was? And also, she doesn't have a hoodie on. And it's cold where I went to college. Like it is not the type of place where you can walk around at night without a hoodie. And isn't it weird that the person who was watching me sleep had a hoodie on, and then this girl shows up in 3 minutes flat without a hoodie, like no jacket at all? So I'm starting to get suspicious, obviously, and she starts like asking me about it and is putting in details that I haven't said yet. Like she's like, OMG, did they come through the window? And I'm like, yeah, but I feel like most people wouldn't be like, I bet you they came through the basement window. You know what I mean? It was just weird. Things were not adding up at all. So towards the end of her hanging out with us, I'm like, was it you? And she's like, no. But it's the type of no where you're like, bullshit. It was definitely you. And to this day, she's never admitted it. She denies it. I asked her the other day if it was her, and she's like, no. But I knew it was her. I 100% knew it was her. And like, I honestly don't know what her plan was. I'm gonna break in through the basement window, watch him sleep on the couch, and somehow magically it's gonna make Scrubby fall in love with me. We're gonna get married, and then when we're married, I'll tell him the story about how I broke into his friend's apartment to watch him sleep because I thought he was so handsome. Yeah, that's gonna be a no from me, dog. Like, I don't even understand what the romance or the plan was. What was I going to like about this situation? So, yeah, my psycho ex actually broke into my friend's house to watch me sleep on the couch and then really tried to play the worst game of, oh, no, it wasn't me I've ever seen in my entire life. And, yeah, I ended up like just kind of cutting her off for a while. The only time I've texted her since that occasion was to ask if it was her like a year later. Because I don't know, I feel like most people are like, oh, I did something stupid, and they're embarrassed to admit it. And then like a year later, they'll admit it. But nah, she's still like, nah, it wasn't me. Even though all the facts and all the coincidences make me think it was her. But whatever, it's just my luck. Every time I like somebody, they end up being a wackadoodle who wants to chop off my head and keep it in the fridge like a trophy in a panda hat. So I had a friend in high school who I was pretty tight with, and when we graduated, he went to college and got himself a pretty serious girlfriend, and we were pretty close. We would play Fortnite together and whatnot. Back when I was still in college, it was still new. It was like season 1, season 2, maybe. and we would still play Fortnite and talk a lot. And he got this girlfriend, and they became serious really, really fast. And I didn't really like her, and the reason for that is she made it so that like we couldn't hang out ever. She's one of those girls where you can't play Fortnite with your friends, you can't hang out with your friends. So I basically went from talking to him every day for maybe 30 minutes to an hour, texting him all the time, to basically never hearing from him ever. And when it's a brand new relationship, I understand that you guys are going to be pretty obsessed with each other. Things are going to be a little weirdly committal, but you know, I'm not a big fan of girls who don't like your friends and say that you can never talk to them. Because believe it or not, your friends are the people who's going to be there for you when the relationship ends, if it ends. Maybe you'll get married and ride off into the sunset. 9 times out of 10 when your girlfriend's an asshole, that's not what happens. So whatever, I'm seeing him less and less, but he's posting on Instagram how in love he is and how he's so happy. So I'm like, well, if he's happy, then I guess that's okay, you know, like whatever. A little bit of backstory though. My friend had some anxiety problems. He kind of was anxious all the time. He was prescribed medication for it, you know, and he was just a nice guy. He had a good heart. That's why he got along so well. So I loved seeing him happy. I loved seeing him not seeming anxious. I was happy for my friend to be happy. So I kind of let go of the fact that we weren't able to talk much. I was not the biggest fan of his girlfriend. That didn't change. But you know, it's just one of those things where you're like, oh well, I guess sometimes your friend dates a girl that you don't like, and you just have to wait it out. And if it's good for your friend and your friend's happy, that's all that should matter. There's really not much else you can do other than just try to wait it out and be supportive of your friend. And that's what I was trying to do, was be a nice, supportive friend while my friend was sitting there dating this girl. And like I said, he was posting all the time on Instagram and Twitter how much he loved his girlfriend and how happy they were together and how they were the dream couple. And that's what the outside appearance was. But I guess behind closed doors, it was not like that at all. Like, very much behind closed doors, what was happening, and I only found this out after when I was talking to him more, was that she was basically telling him that he was worthless without her and that he would never go anywhere or do anything successful with his life if he left her. And keep in mind, this kid has anxiety, and just making him feel like if he didn't have her in his life was going to go nowhere, and ultimately he was just going to be an absolute loser, which is not true. The kid's actually super smart, super successful, but when you have anxiety and you've been cut off from all your friends, there's not much you can do. Like, psychologically, being realistic here, being cut off from your friends makes you weak. It makes you vulnerable, because the people who support you the most, the people that always have your back, can't be there to tell you that your girlfriend is a psychotic bitch. Sadly, you know, I wish I could have been, but that's what's going on behind closed doors. So I haven't talked to him in a while, and I went back to my hometown, and I bumped into his parents, and him and I were pretty close. I had spent the night at his house a bunch. So his mom automatically comes up to me, starts talking to me. We're talking, and I start talking about his girlfriend, how I haven't talked to him in a while. She goes, "Oh, that's weird. He says he talks to you all the time." And I'm like, no, I have not talked to him in months. Ever since he started dating the girl, you know, I haven't seen him. And she immediately does this look, and I can tell that I'm about to get the mom talk. You know, when moms tell you things that you're not supposed to know because they're like concerned for their son or whatever. Moms always have the best gossip. It's a proven fact, especially the MILFs. And his mom was a MILF. That's not crucial to the story. I don't really know why I said that, but hey, I'm leaving it in because it's funny. And she starts talking about how his girlfriend is not likable and how she doesn't like her and how she's separated him from all his friends, and that's usually a red flag, blah, 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 blah. And I was still pretty young, so I didn't really know it was like a big red flag, but I guess a lot of adults are like, yeah, if your girlfriend tells you not to talk to your friends, that's a ginormous red flag, right? So she asked me to please reach out to him and see what's going on. So I'm like, okay. So with her right next to me, I text him and say, hey man, we haven't talked in a while. I want to catch up and call sometime. And he basically responds and politely dodges it and is like, no, I'm really busy with my girlfriend, da 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 da. Blah, 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 blah. But what I noticed is that the texting language, like the nuances of texting somebody are not right. He's not texting me back. It's definitely not him. So I tell the mom that, and she goes, yeah, I thought it was weird. And what's so weird to me about that is, like, we have patterns for texting people. Like, when you text somebody enough, you can tell when they're texting you or when somebody else is texting you. And I just think that's super cool. So anyways, I know my friend's not texting me. His mom knows he's not texting me. So she decides that she's going to call him that night and she'll text me an update. So I give her my phone number. She said she'll text me what's going on if she needs anything. And I said, yeah, of course. Absolutely. He's a good friend of mine. If I can do anything to help, you just let me know. That's what matters, right? So that night I get a text saying, yeah, man, let's go to lunch. Can you be in town? Like, how long are you in town? Blah, 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 blah. And he went to school in a town like an hour away from the school where I went to town in. So I tell him I'm going to be driving back up Monday, so we should stop and get lunch. And he's like, yeah, that sounds perfect. So whatever, I'm banking on seeing him. I'm going to text him an update, make sure he's all good. And he tells me where to meet him. He tells me to meet him at noon. I'm sitting there. It's noon. It's 1 p.m. It's 2 p.m. So I text him and I say, hey, dude, I was a little upset. I'm not gonna lie, I was really pissed, and I basically say, hey dude, really shitty of you to ditch me and make me wait here for 2 hours. Thought we were better friends than this. I text his mom, and his mom is like, something's not right. He would never ditch you. He's always liked you. Something's wrong. Can you just go stop by the apartment? Something is wrong. So I'm like, yeah, sure, not a problem, I guess. His mom understands why I'm upset. She's like, I promise, if you go there and he's just sitting there doing nothing, you never have to talk to him again. But can you just do this for me? And I liked his mom. She was a cool lady, and she was hot. So I go over to his house, and I knock on the door, and sure enough, this girlfriend that I've been seeing tons of pictures on Instagram opens the door to just, what? Like the angriest what I've ever heard in my entire life. So I ask if my friend is home, and she says that he's in the hospital because he's an insufferable P word, and that blah, 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 he just can never do anything right, yada, yada, yada. She's tearing into him in front of me. Keep in mind, she just said he's in the hospital. So I'm like, hey, can you shut up? What hospital? What room? Blah, 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 blah. She gives me the information. I call his mom, and I'm like, hey, I'm on the way to the hospital. Apparently he's there. She is she's a bitch. And I tell her everything, and she's like, okay, we're on our way. Will you stay with him? I'm like, yes, of course, no problem. I've always got my homies back. No stress here. And listen, before anybody's like, well, he ditched you for lunch. Obviously, there was more going on. He might have been in the hospital. I'm not sure at this point, but my friends. My loyalty is to my friends first and foremost. Yes, even when my friends piss me off, I'm still going to have their back. The amount of times Benji and I have been in a screaming match, screaming at each other, and then somebody else tries to hop in and I start defending Benji is uncountable. Like, I'm a loyal friend, loyal to the end, 100%. So I get to the hospital, and he's just kind of chilling, and we're talking, we're having a conversation, and he's kind of like, yeah, my girlfriend is just nagging me constantly. Like, she literally nagged him so bad that he ended up in the hospital because he had such a bad anxiety attack. I don't know what type of terrible person you have to be to do that, but like, you're dating this guy, and she literally berated him, calling him stupid and how he's a massive idiot, to the point where he had to be hospitalized. And then when I showed up, still was mad enough to keep calling him an idiot who like deserved to be in the hospital because he's stupid. And so we're having the conversation. He basically tells me that he didn't know how to leave the relationship because everybody thought that, you know, he was a loser who could never get a girlfriend. So he finally got a girlfriend, and he felt like he couldn't leave because if he did, then everyone was going to make fun of him. And I'm like, dude, listen, I promise you, people are not going to make fun of you if you leave a toxic relationship. The only thing I'm going to make fun of you for is staying in that one for so long. And he started laughing. Like, we were friends, guys. I know what you're thinking. That might be a little bit insensitive, but that's just how guys talk to each other, all right? We're kind of mean to each other, but it's good-spirited. So we sit there for about an hour, catching up, having a conversation, just doing what we got to do until his mom showed up. His mom walked in and immediately is like, where's that bitch? And I'm 99% sure she was ready to throw hands. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she had brass knuckles in the purse, getting ready to absolutely obliterate the girl who had done this to her son. She was not out here to play games, and I don't blame her. If anybody ever did that to my kid, I would 100% be ready to throw hands, like obliterate them into the nighttime sky, like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star renditions on an acoustic guitar. All right, like, that mom was ready to fight. She immediately hugs him and is like, are you okay? Are you okay? Everything's fine. He explains to her everything that's gone down. They decide that he's going to go back to our hometown to finish school, and that she's going to go to the apartment to get the stuff. And she looks at me and she said, you better take his phone and call her and tell her she better not be that apartment when I get there. Otherwise, it's going to be 2 people in the hospital. And I was like, yep, okay, let me see your phone. So I give his crazy girlfriend a call, and she answers like, oh, you idiot, are you out of the hospital yet? Do you need me to come get you? I can't believe you. And I say, hi, this is Ryan. His mom is coming. I would very much suggest that you get out of the house. And she gets all snarky with me, and she's like, no, it's my house. I'm not leaving. Yada, yada, yada. It's our apartment. We pay rent together. Blah, 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 blah. And his mom kind of hears this, picks up the phone, and goes, listen, sweetie, I will literally break your teeth in. Your dentist will have to sew your mouth back together by the time I'm done with it. I would leave immediately. And I heard a click. The mom went over, got his stuff, came back, and apparently the girlfriend was nowhere to be found. And it really be like that sometimes, you know? Sometimes a mama bear just has to try to almost kill you for you to realize that you messed up. Dude, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. I went on a Tinder date last night. Yeehaw. Yay for me. I really went out there and got my feet wet. And by getting my feet wet, I mean, she was kind of crazy again. Something you guys got to understand, though, before we get into this. Okay, I do date normal girls. There are dates I go on that don't end with a girl being a psycho. They're just not funny. Like, why would I get on here and tell you guys a story of, you know, we had a lovely evening. We ate dinner together. We ate under the promenade. We had a great time and had a great conversation that carried on into us finding to, you know, hang out more. See, that's not fun. fun. That's not cool. You guys only enjoy it when my life is falling apart. So as soon as I met this girl and the date went terribly, I went, oh my god, finally another situation where people will laugh at my pain. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. For some reason, my dating history is pretty abysmal. Don't get me wrong, like I said, I do go on good dates. It's just not funny to tell you guys about good dates. And this girl was no exception. Now, I didn't meet this girl the normal way. I know you guys are used to story times where I'm like, yo, I was on Tinder and this mad cutie popped up. I swiped right, it was mutual, and we had a connection. Nah, this was an old school thing where you meet someone in like public and whatever. Except not really. I guess it is kind of a modern thing. Regardless, my friend was in town earlier this week and we went out to the town, and like I said, I live in Las Vegas. I've said that a few times. So when you're in Las Vegas, you go out and you do some fun things when your friends are in town. And of course, I'm not 21 yet, so I would never, ever, ever, ever go under the influence of anything ever. But if I did, I wouldn't drive. So for one reason or another, me and my friend could not drive. It was because we were both taking our polio medication. That's right, you know, you gotta get ready for the vaccines coming up. Vaccine season's fast upon us. So we couldn't drive. Yeah, that's definitely it, okay? Susan, look, it was medicine, I promise, all right? But whatever, me and my friends could not drive because we were taking our medication. And so we had to get an Uber back to my house, right? Like, we couldn't really walk home because it was a far distance. And besides, walking is for, I don't know, people with legs. Yeah, that's right, you suckers walk places. I don't know where I was going with that, all right? Don't judge me. Only God can judge me, and he probably is viciously every day that I'm a massive disappointment and definitely not something he's proud to have created. But hey, you know, listen, my channel, my rules, and I say we're cool here. So we got an Uber, we hopped up in this hoe, and our driver was actually pretty cute, and my friend is pretty hydrated at this point, I'm not gonna lie. He's pretty flabbergasted. He's just kind of babbling, saying things that don't make any sense to say out loud. At one point, he's talking about how, like, aliens are definitely real. Not quite sure, but he's, like, slurring his words while he's doing it. It was just an interesting situation, but like I said, that's what's going on. So me and this Uber driver, who is pretty cute, are making fun of my friend. We're, like, making fun of him, joking with him because he's super out of it, and we're laughing and having a good time while we're doing it. And whatever, we bond, and my friend ends up, like, falling asleep because I live across town from the party district in Las Vegas, the Strip. Like, I live basically away from that. So he passes out on the way back, and we just start having a normal conversation after he passes out. But keep in mind, we've already got some chemistry. We're both making fun of someone, and I don't know, I like when girls can, like, make fun of people, right? It's one of my favorite things. Like, being able to have fun, have a good time is just a really, really fun, exciting thing. And so I already am like, wow, you're cute and you can make fun of people, especially my drunk friends. I'm a fan of this. I could really get down with somebody like you, and she's cute. And we start talking and whatnot, and she is an Uber driver on the side because her main job is just boring, blah, 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 blah. And we just have a normal conversation. We have a great time doing normal things, and I'm like, wow, this is really great. And obviously, there's no red flags. Actually, there were a couple red flags. She was weirdly, like, inquisitive about if I liked kids, and I didn't think about it at the time. I was like, oh, whatever. But that'll be important later. Anyways, so me and the Uber driver got along. We have a great conversation. We hit it off. We're really bonding, getting along fantastically. And overall, it was just a great time. I had a really, really fun time enjoying myself on this date. Or not a date, it was an Uber drive. I guess you could consider it a date, but you know, in a way that, like, you're paying her to drive you places. Yeah, that type of date. Really romantic. So we get to my house, right? And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna ask her out. So I'm getting my friend out of the car. I'm like, hey, you should give me your number or something. We could go out sometime. And she's like, yeah, I'd love that. Haha. So she gives me her number, and I don't text her for 2 days. Yes, because I'm just, I don't know, I'm that guy. I'm like, look, I'm the enigma, okay? Like, come on, let's be realistic here. I'm mysterious. I'm weird. Am I going to text you? Am I not? You're going to have to wait 2 days and find out. On the next episode of Dragon Ball Z, did I text you? The answer in this situation is yes, I did. And that's why they were talking about this story time. But that was what was going on, okay? So I didn't text her for 2 days, but I'm texting her, and our conversation over text is fantastic. We're having a great time. Everybody's getting along. Everybody's chatting it up. And by everybody, I mean us too. I don't know why I do that a lot in these videos. Like, I'll be like, everybody, but it's like 2 people. It's stupid, and it doesn't make sense, but I don't know. It's really fun. So everybody is having a fantastic time, you know? And she goes, hey, what are you doing this Friday? And we both have nothing going on. So I'm like, hey, let's go on a date. Like, let's go out. Let's have a good time. And she's like, yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm super stoked. I love having a good time. Me too. I think we all do. We all love having a lovely time. We all love dating crazy people and getting to tell the story on the internet for money. Yeehaw. So obviously, she's like, well, what do you want to do on Friday? And listen, this is corny. I'm a 12-year-old at heart, and I'm never going to change. I love mini golf. Mini golf is fun. Mini golf is dope. And if you don't like mini golf, Well, that's crappy because it's a good first date, and if you don't like mini golf, I can't date you. So like if you're ever sitting there, oh Scrubby, date me, and you don't like mini golf, no. And if you do like mini golf, bro, let's go on a date. Like no homo, come on, let's just hop out there, play some mini golf, have a grand old time. Everybody loves mini golf, or at least that's what I thought. But she's like, yeah, sure, let's go play mini golf. And also, you know what? If a guy has a plan for a first date and you don't like the plan, you don't want to go on that date, just say, nah, don't feel like mini golfing. You don't need to make me look like an idiot and do some psycho stuff while we're playing mini golf. That is my sanctity. That is my safe place. And this woman had the balls to be psycho in my safe place. So whatever, she's like, yeah, let's go play mini golf. So Friday comes, I go pick her up, and we go to play mini golf. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is when doom was spelled D-O-O-N-Q. How do you spell doom? I don't know. I do know how to spell doom. That was a joke. That was a joke, guys, okay? I don't want any comments about how you guys think I'm stupid. I can't tolerate that. My ego is bruised. So whatever, we get to the mini golf place, and we're just flowing in conversation, having a good old time, and she's like, I actually am really, really good at mini golf. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I thought it was like that fun flirty thing where you're like, I'm gonna beat you at mini golf. And then you guys like flirt and goof off, and nobody's good at mini golf, but like, you know, you just have a good time, because that's at least what I thought a normal person would do, you know? But no, we start playing, and I'm not even kidding. This girl is taking it seriously. She's doing Pythagorean theorems, trying to figure out the best angle of attack on the hole. She's doing math equations in her head about how to bounce balls off certain things. That's what she said. And I'm just kind of like chilling, you know? I like mini golf. It's fun, and I would say I'm above average, but I'm not Tiger Woods. And this woman was like the Tiger Woods of mini golf. And whatever, that's not why she was psycho. Like, that was just kind of weird. I was like, oh, you're really, really into mini golf, and that's a little bit bizarre. And you know, mini golf's main demographic is children, kids, you know, like kids, which I actually, you know, kids and I get along pretty well, I guess. I want to be a dad one day. Like, that's something cool for me. So I like kids. That's not what I meant. So context matters, okay? You guys know what I was trying to say. And at the mini golf place, there was kids playing in front of us, and she looks at me, she's like, ugh, I hate kids. And I was like, what? They're just playing mini golf. She's like, yeah, but look, they're so loud and annoying. And I'm like, they're kids playing mini golf. Yeah, that's how it works, you know? Like, kids are trying to have fun, have a good time out here. That's what they're trying to do. They're just chilling. They're really, really not sitting here trying to ruin your day. I promise you. They probably really don't care that we're here. They're just having fun playing mini golf. And she starts going on and on about how kids are the worst and how anybody who likes kids is a terrible person, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just sitting there with my mouth shut like, okay, crazy lady. And whatever, if you don't like kids, like, that's fine. Don't like kids. But for you to, you know, get mad at kids in a kid's place for being kids is kind of weird. That was a mouthful. But come on, like, you wouldn't go to a park and then complain about, kids are so noisy. Like, wait, what do you mean? We're playing mini golf. Of course kids are going to be having fun playing mini golf. But whatever, she's just freaking out. And one of the kids messes up and hits the ball way too hard, and it like bounces out of the course and off the wall and comes and lands like by my feet. And it's not a big deal. I don't care. I have zero care in the world that this just happened, that there's a ball at my feet now. I don't care in the slightest. But it's a big deal to her because she starts screaming, and I mean screaming at these kids about how stupid they are and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm on a date with a crazy person. You are screaming at kids for being kids, playing mini golf, and like accidentally hitting me with a ball. Like, they didn't even hit me hard. It like rolled up to my feet and tapped my shoe. Okay, it was a love kiss. And she is just screaming at these poor kids. And I'm like, okay, at this point, date 2 is not going to happen. I am definitely not down to date a psycho Uber driver who hates kids and screams at them whenever they do anything at all ever that she does not slightly approve of in the slightest. I'm really not down for that life. Not at all. So at this point, she can see that I'm like not really vibing on this date. I'm not having a great time. And she's like, hey, what's wrong? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I just don't really like that you yelled at those kids for no reason. And she starts going off about how they're stupid and how I shouldn't worry about them and how like kids are just idiots and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh my God, this person is actually going to curb stomp a baby if it barfs on anyone or like sneezes on somebody. And I'm not down for that, all right? It tells a lot about a person. Like, if a person hates kids, they're probably like not a chill person to hang out with, to be honest, because everything kids do is what's fun, you know, like goofing off and having a good time. That's what's up. That's what life's about. So at this point, I politely say, you know, I gotta go home. I have to go do something tomorrow. And she's like, oh yeah, no problem. So I take her home, I drop her off, and I ghosted her. Yeah, call me immature, call me an idiot, call me whatever you want. I ghosted the girl that screamed at a bunch of kids that were innocent, and I hope you guys understand. I hope you guys understand why I had to do that. You know, desperate times call for desperate measures. So the other night I was hanging out with some family members, as you do every now and then when there's an awkward occasion that you really can't miss. And I was talking to my uncle about YouTube and telling him that I have a channel where I make stories, and he asked me if I tell other people's stories, and I was like, yeah, every now and then. And he looked at me and he says, has your dad ever told you about my crazy ex? And I was like, no, he hasn't. And he says, come with me, and says to follow him outside. And this is not my uncle, that's a conspiracy theorist. This is one that's actually pretty normal. So I go outside with him, and he proceeds to tell me a story that I instantly knew that I had to tell here on the channel, where one of his ex-girlfriends broke into his house and cut a lock of his hair off to use in a spell in the woods in the 80s. Yeah, I guess back in the day, women were even crazier, but yeah, without further ado, I guess let's get into it. So my uncle grew up in Mississippi, which I guess is a place where most crazy people originate from. I didn't know that. I thought it was Florida, but he assured me that it is in fact true that people in Mississippi are the craziest. And I guess in high school, he was a pretty athletic guy, a pretty popular guy in high school, and ended up dating this girl that everybody thought was super hot. But for some reason, not a lot of guys would date her, and he was kind of like new around this school and didn't really know a ton about her. But when a hot girl shows you interest when you're a teenage boy, you don't really question it very much. You're not like, what is the logical reason for her not being already in a relationship if she is so great? You just kind of are like, oh, girl, give me attention, I date. So he starts dating this girl, and right after they start dating, he kind of realizes why nobody's dating her, and that's because she's crazy. This is in the 80s when for some reason, every soccer mom with too little to do, instead of going and yelling at people and asking to speak to the managers, were convinced that almost everything that existed in pop culture was connected to Satan somehow, oh my gosh, if you play this song backwards 47 times and take an Adderall, it sounds like he's saying love the devil. It's like, yeah, anything sounds crazy when you're in that situation, But for whatever reason, there was just this huge thing where parents would be like, oh my gosh, all this pop culture stuff is getting them to believe in the devil. And I guess for the most part, it was made up. Not a lot of people actually were listening to, Van Halen and then deciding to become Satanists. But this girl that he was dating was the opposite. She heard all the rumors about this Satan stuff and decided that it was true. She was definitely a witch. She would try to impress him by being at night I go into the woods behind my house and do spells in order to show the people that have trained me that I'm a loyal soldier of Satan. And he's like, oh, this chick is crazy. This chick is nuts. But for whatever small brain reason, my uncle decides to not break up with her, and I'm just going to give you all some dating advice, so listen carefully. If a girl tells you that she goes into the woods to commit acts that let Satan know that she's a loyal follower, what you're supposed to do is a fantastic strategy, all right? You put one leg in front of the other, and then you keep doing that faster until you're in a full sprint, and then you don't look until you've crossed at least 3 state lines, because that is the amount of distance you have to put between you and someone that absolutely mentally unstable. But for whatever reason, he's like, nah, this isn't that bad, I'll just keep dating her, which is the wrong move in this situation, all right? Hopefully somebody out there learns their lesson from this video and doesn't date the girl that pretends that she's a witch. Sadly, his nephew didn't learn that the right way. Anyways, my uncle keeps dating her like a moron, and sorry, about a month after this entire situation where she's kind of like, yeah, you know how it is, just going into the woods and getting my witchy stuff on. I don't really know what witches say. I'm trying my best out here, all right, but I'm not Sabrina. I'm not a genius. So after that, she's like, will you come to the woods so I can show you what's going on? And he's figured he's going to walk out there. She's going to draw a pentagram with leaves, and then they're going to leave. He doesn't really think it's going to be a big deal, because he's like, all right, this girl, she's a little crazy, but she's hot. And you know what they say? The reason crazy girls are dangerous is because they're really fun to be around, it's an adventure. How often is a girl going to take you into the woods and show you where she does magic that's not real? Not very often. So anyways, they're just kind of vibing out, you know how it is, and they go into the woods, and she's like, what I'm about to show you is secret. It's a sacred ritual. You can't tell anyone. And he's playing along. He's like, oh, yeah, I won't tell anyone. But the entire time he's like, this chick is crazy. So he's kind of interested in seeing what's going on. So he follows this girl into the middle of the woods, which once again is not the smartest idea. Generally, when a woman says that she worships the devil, you shouldn't follow them into the woods. That's a really, really bad idea.
That's like how you end up on Dateline, you know? What happened in this small backwood town of Mississippi was nothing short of insanity. This young man went, like, that's how you go missing and just never come home. But whatever, he follows her, and they stumble into this clearing, and sure enough, there's, like, this ground has been cleared, and there's all these rocks that make, like, this pentagram-shaped thing. And she's like, this is where I practice my magic. And for, like, what, I don't know why my uncle was still talking to her, but he's like, oh, that's cool, because, like, how do you respond? And he remembers saying, oh, that's cool specifically because when he called it cool, she got all pissed and was like, what, do you think this is cool? Do you have any idea what you're looking at? And he's like, well, no, it's a bunch of rocks in the woods. Am I supposed to know? Like, this is a dialectic and witch ritual. I don't know. Like, I don't know what witches get up to, all right? Like, hey, you do you, man. I'm not judging, I guess. If you can put curses on people, that's a pretty sick skill. But, you know, he's just kind of like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to be offensive. She's like, oh, whatever. Like, come look. So she starts showing him around, you know, as if it's like a really nice hotel room. Like, oh, here's the bathroom. She's like, this is where, you know, I do all the crazy stuff. And this is when my uncle realizes that, you know, this, like, crazy that was kind of like, oh, well, she's hot, definitely is a little more dangerous than he thinks. So they get over to this, like, tree stump thing that had been moved there, and it had, like, almost like a bowl shape carved out of it, and next to it is a bunch of, like, squirrel bones. And he's like, oh, do you, like, find these? And she looks at him and goes, no, sometimes you have to sacrifice stuff for the rituals. And he's like, wait, hold on, what? Because this wasn't just a tiny pile of bones. He describes it as, imagine somebody built a house out of Lincoln logs, but it was just like squirrel femurs, and it's about the size up to your hips. This is a giant stack of bones. This isn't like, all right, you know, one chipmunk. This is Alvin and the whole gang. And the girl chipmunks, too. They're all going down. So at this point, finally, my uncle wakes up and realizes it's probably not a good idea to be involved with a woman who's sacrificing squirrels in the middle of the woods. This sounds like the start of a horror movie, bro. Like, my uncle goes missing and his ghost comes back to warn people of the witch's return. I don't know, man. All I'm saying is that, finally, he realizes that the girl he's dating isn't a quirky, you know, she's into edgy stuff. No, she's, doing crazy people things. You know the part of the documentary where they're always like, we should have seen it coming ever since neighborhood cats started to go missing. Yeah, his girlfriend was one of those, which is not a good sign. So, obviously, he's like, I have to break up with you. But what happens next is, out of nowhere, she's like, do you want to do a ritual? And he's like, yeah, no, I'm good. And she's like, please do the ritual with me. And he's like, no, seriously, you know, I'm uncomfortable. I'm getting a weird vibe. And she's like, oh, yeah, that happens to people when they first come through here. But can we come back in a couple days and, you know, do the ritual? And he's like, well, what ritual do you want to do? And she's like, the ones that will bind our souls together forever. And he's like, you know, yeah, let's come back in a couple days and do the soul binding ritual. Yeah, not right now, though. Please, like, in a couple days, I don't feel well. It's a weird vibe here. The energy's off. And she's like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. The energies, you know, are perfect for summoning spirits. Like, he's just playing into crazy people talk, which I'm not gonna lie is a pretty good skill. If you're ever dealing with a crazy person, the real way that you get out of it is you just want to play along and let them think that they're right until you can leave safely. Because when a crazy person starts saying she gonna sacrifice a squirrel to bind your souls together, you do what you need to do to get out of there with your soul intact. You know, you just gotta do it. So they leave the woods because, you know, he's pretending to be super freaked out, or he's not pretending. He is super freaked out, just not because of crazy energies, but crazy girls instead. So anyways, they go back and he's like out of the woods with her, and he's back home, and he's like, hey, you know, I've had a really fun time getting to know you, but I don't know how this is gonna work. I'm going off to college in the fall, so I don't know if I want to do this long term. You love it here. I don't. There's things I want to do. And she's like, no, you can't break up with me. And he's like, yeah, well, you know, I'm going to college, so I don't really know if I can continue this relationship and make you happy the way you deserve. He's pulling out every book in the book, or every trick in the book to be like, it's not you, it's me. But it really is you because, you know, I'm not the one sacrificing squirrels. So she's all heartbroken and starts screaming at him, being like, we're supposed to be together. together. I know we're supposed to be together. And he's like, yeah, well, I don't know. I don't think so. Like, he's trying his best to try to calm her down, but she's pissed. And she's like, you're gonna regret the day that you broke my heart. She's getting livid with him, saying that, like, if he doesn't take her back, then he's gonna regret it, which I feel like is a weird thing to do. Like, let's say you are a witch with magical powers. Do you really want to be with the dude that just doesn't like you? Like, you're magic. Come on, if you're really a witch. But whatever, sometimes feelings don't make sense. So she's like, you're gonna regret the day. And he's like, yeah, well, can you please leave? No big deal. So he goes to bed that night because they had gotten home from the woods late. And like I said, they've been dating for a few months, and so it wasn't unusual for the girl to be, like, over at the house, I guess. So nobody really questioned it when later that night, I guess early next morning would be the proper term. Like, early next morning, like 9 a.m., his ex-girlfriend, that's also a psychopath, came over to the house. The mom let her in because she didn't even question it, Yeah, it's my son's girlfriend. They had broken up the night before, and he had gone to bed, so he didn't tell his mom that they had broken up yet. And she leaves pretty quickly after, and a couple hours later, my uncle wakes up, and he goes and looks in the mirror, and at the time, he had a long head of hair, a very stylish, swag-tastic head of hair, and there's a pretty big chunk missing, like the entire, like, front part of his long hair is gone. So he goes downstairs, he's like, Mom, what did you do to my hair while I was asleep? Like, why did you cut my hair while I was asleep? Because his mom, my grandma, hated his long hair. And my grandma is super confused and is like, I don't know. Last time I saw you, you had long hair. And then this morning, and she says the girl's name, left. And he's like, wait, she was here this morning? And my grandma's like, yeah, she came by for like 20 minutes earlier this morning. She went up to your room. I thought you talked to her. And he's like, Mom, we broke up last night. So he tells my grandma all about this girl sacrificing squirrels in the middle of the woods. And my grandma's like, oh yeah, then I guess it's weird that she was there this morning. I swear, parents in the 80s had no care, dude. My uncle had just told my grandma that, there's a girl who had just took a chunk of his son's hair while he was asleep after he broke up with her. And my grandma's like, well, that's crazy. Shut up and eat breakfast, kid. I don't care. And, later, next time he saw the girl, she started telling him how she had done a ritual with his hair in the woods and his life was gonna end and yada, yada, yada. And, 30 years later, he's telling me this story. So obviously, whatever type of magic she was using, she didn't go to Hogwarts because she wasn't very good at using it. Moral of the story on this one is definitely stay away from girls that tell you that they go into the woods and cast spells with, squirrels, because chances are they're a psychopath. Or, keep dating them, get yourself on Dateline, whatever you really want. I think the weird part about this is in college, I had a girl that thought she was a witch and put a crush on me. So I guess me and my uncle are just, really, really just vibing. We got that same spiritual level. So when I moved back to my hometown after dropping out of college to do this YouTube thing full time, I had a couple friends that I would hang out with relatively often. Not many people have the same schedule as a YouTuber, so whenever you find somebody that can kind of hang out during the day, you kind of latch onto them. And I had this one friend who actually worked out of state most of the time. He worked on like oil, something involving oil. So he would be home in Vegas for like a week or two, and then he would go work on these pipelines and the oil thing for like 3 weeks at a time. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense. That's what he told me he did, and I don't know the specifics of it, so I'm just going to trust that I explained it fair enough. And he had a girlfriend who all of us were like kind of okay with. Like, don't get me wrong, I didn't love this girl. It wasn't like every time she was hanging out with us, I was cheering, jumping up and down, being like, oh, sick, his girlfriend's here, turn up. But we didn't really mind her. And I guess, the distance thing, being out of state for 3 weeks at a time, only seeing your girlfriend a week out of the month, was a little strenuous. And when he was home, he didn't want to spend every waking moment with her, which is what she wanted to do with him. So he decided to end things with this girl. And they hadn't been dating for long, maybe 2 or 3 months, but it was no big deal. Like, he ends things and he thinks it's pretty amicable. She's kind of like, oh, okay, whatever, no big deal. Or at least that's what she told him, and they go their separate ways, right? And whenever he would be out of state working, we would still text. We had a group chat with all of our friends in it, and he would always talk in there. And he starts telling us how he thought the breakup was going to be fair and normal. Isn't going like that, because she's calling him like 30 times a day. She's spamming him, begging him to get back with her, saying that they're meant to be together and that she loves him and that she'll do anything to prove it. And he's kind of like, we only dated for a couple weeks. It's not like, we were anything serious. I'm sorry, but I'm just not ready to commit and marry you. I don't know you like that. And apparently she's not taking it very well. And our other people in the friend group, he actually became friends with us because he lived in the same apartment complex as a couple of our friends. And these friends that lived in the same apartment complex of him happened to not be in the group chat. That's going to be important. So he's telling us that she's crazy and they're broken up and that she's kind of obsessed with him and going insane. And, we're kind of like, yeah, that's crazy. And all of us just assumed that he was telling everybody that they had broken up and that she wasn't supposed to be at his house or anything. The typical 411. You think he's telling everyone that he's single and broken up with this girl. And up until this point, she had seemed relatively normal. Like, yes, she seemed a little heartbroken and upset that they had been broken up, but it wasn't like we expected her to do anything too drastic because she was pretty normal during their relationship. And normally, when you're dating a crazy girl, in the back of your mind that this person is crazy. Like, it's not like you magically, oh, hey, guess what? Surprise, I'm crazy. You can generally see it coming. But, so we don't think she's going to do anything that crazy. And he's in wherever the hell he was doing his work. I don't really know. And he's there for a couple months couple weeks, and then comes home to Vegas. And he's like, yo, can we hang out? Let's chill. Like, let's go out. Let's go have a good time. So we say, yeah. And we, all go out and we're hanging out with him. And at the end of the night, he goes, hey, do we want to go back to my apartment and play video games or just like goof off and have a good time? And we're all like, yeah, sure. For sure, man. Everybody loves to have a good time. So we go home to his apartment and we open the door and everything seems pretty normal, but he's like, something's off. Something's not right. He's like, my furniture is rearranged. There's no food in the fridge. I don't know what's going on. This is weird. So we start going through the rest of the house just to see if there's anything else that's off, because he claims that everything's off. So we go through his room and the bedspreads changed. There's like pictures that have been moved around in his room. There's no like soap in the shower. Everything's off. And he's like, I think someone has been living in my apartment when I was gone. Like when I was at work, I think somebody was in my apartment. And we're like, whoa, that's weird. None of us live in this apartment complex, but there's all those guys that we're also friends with. Maybe they saw something. Maybe they could tell us. So he's like, yeah, that's a good idea. So all of us go to our friend's apartment who was like downstairs, one under him, and we knock on the door and they answer and they're like, hey guys, what's up? Do you want to hang out? And we're like, yeah, we want to hang out, but there's something important we have to talk about first. Was anybody in my apartment? He's like, everything's rearranged, I don't know what's going on, but everything's different. Can you guys, did you guys see anything? Did you hear anything? You're underneath me. Was anything going on? If you guys have any information, I'd appreciate it because I don't exactly like coming home from being gone for 3 weeks and knowing that somebody was in my house without me knowing. That's a pretty creepy feeling, okay? I know what it's like to have a woman named Karen rifle through your stuff when you're home, so I couldn't imagine coming back from 3 weeks being away and knowing that somebody was living in your house. That's creepy, And the guys look confused and they kind of look at him and they're like, dude, your girlfriend's been living in your house. And he's like, huh? My what? And they're like, yeah, that girl that you were bringing over. And he's like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, she would come over and she'd talk to us for a little bit. And then she'd be like, all right, well, I miss him. And he said that I'm allowed to sleep in his bed because I miss him. So I'm just going to go up into the apartment and, and sleep. And they'd be like, okay, because it's his girlfriend. And yeah, it's a little weird, I guess, to sleep in someone's bed because you miss them, but whatever, it's a girl. And they're not going to be like, are you sure that you have permission to enter the premises? Especially when they've seen her come over tons over the last couple weeks. And he's like, dog, we broke up. And they're like, wait, what? You guys broke up? She definitely told us that you guys were getting serious and that she was going to move in when you got back. And he's like, you're kidding, right? Did she actually say that? And they're like, yeah, she did. So he calls her and she answers and she's like, oh, hey, what's up? And he's like, hey, have you been in my apartment? Have you been in my apartment? Everything's rearranged. All my stuff is moved. There's pictures that I found in the closet that used to be up on my walls. Were you in my apartment? I need you to be honest with me. If you're honest, I won't get anyone else involved, but were you in my apartment? She's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And so he goes, well, then why do the people who live underneath me say that they saw you in my apartment? These people said that, they saw you. And she just gets really quiet and is like, well, I knew that we were going to get back together when you got back because obviously my feelings for you were so strong and I know we're supposed to be together. So I might have gone in and rearranged some stuff so that way when I moved in, it would be more comfortable for me. I just want to be comfortable in our home, you know? And he's like, it's not our home, it's my house, and you didn't have permission to go in there. And any chance of us getting back together is gone because now you're showing me that you're a crazy person. Just some general advice, some general rules of thumbs, okay? It's not a good idea if you're trying to get back with somebody to break in to their house and rearrange furniture because you know in your heart that they're going to be together someday. Like, that does not come off as flattering or adorable. It comes off as creepy and weird. So he tells her that they're done, they're never going to talk again, and she starts to get upset, and she's like, we're supposed to be together. I went and saw a psychic about it, and she says that she knows that we're supposed to be together. It's going to happen. You're overreacting. And he's like, I don't care what some psychic says, okay? The psychic is not in control of my life. I am, all right? Like, imagine going to some random lady on the side of the road. We don't even know if it was a real psychic. It could have just been somebody that was like, oh, yeah, I'm a psychic. Give me $50 and I'll tell you your future. And she tossed him a 50, and he's like, yeah, you'll get back together, you know? I don't know. I don't really trust a psychic. And any girl that's like, oh, yeah, my psychic said we're supposed to be together, so it's guaranteed. Now you have to let me move in, is probably a little bit out there. So he basically tells her that if she ever comes back to his apartment, then, you know, she's getting, like, arrested. He's not playing around. And the people who lived underneath him felt so bad. They're like, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. And he's like, I don't think you guys had an idea. Like, I don't think you guys were sitting there, you know, with a white cat stroking it softly going, today we're going to mess him over by letting his crazy ex move into his apartment. He's like, obviously I didn't tell you guys. It's my bad. I should have warned you. Why didn't you text me though? And she's like, and then they're like, well, she told us that you didn't take your phone this time. There was something weird with the pipeline and you couldn't communicate with your phone, so there was no way for us to reach out to you. And we just believed her because we hadn't heard from you. And he's like, bro, this chick is crazy. So we think that's the end of the saga, right? He tells her to leave him alone. It should be no big deal. So a couple months go by, I think 4.5 months, 4.5 months-ish go by, and all of a sudden he starts getting texts from a number that he doesn't recognize telling him to back off their woman, all right? She's my girl. She's over you. What you guys have is in the past, you know. You can't continue flirting with her and reaching out to her. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, he starts responding to the number, hey, who is her, first of all? I don't know what you're talking about. And come to find out, this girl in the 4 months that they had been broken up had moved on, found a guy, gotten engaged to be married, and then was telling this guy that she still had feelings for our friend because she knew in the bottom of her heart that they were supposed to be together. And our friend is like trying to argue with this dude and be like, look, I don't want your girlfriend. Your girlfriend is crazy. You can have her. She's your fiance. I don't want her. I don't know why she's telling you that she still has feelings for me or that we're going to end up together. I do not want to end up with your fiance. That is not on my agenda at all. And the guy's having none of it. And he's like, no, I know you've been flirting with her. You've been speaking to her in her dreams. And he's like, what are you talking about? Apparently crazy attracts crazy because these two crazy people were now madly in love. But basically, apparently my friend, after getting his apartment broken into and having this girl basically stalk him and like rearrange his furniture, was also communicating with her through dreams, you know, was sending her messages in her subconscious that were going to retroactively activate her trap card and she was going to come running back into his arms and date him or something. I don't really know what the guy was saying, but apparently my friend was being very flirtatious in dreams, and that's not okay. And this is me telling all of you, if your crazy ex-girlfriend, you know, don't flirt with her in your dreams because then her fiance is apparently going to want to fight you. But, yeah, after squaring that away, he did end up hearing from her a little bit more, but that's another video. I could make another video about this saga, so... So this story takes place in my freshman year of college, alright? Young Scrubby was trying to get on the case to get a girlfriend. As the charming young CSGO surfer I am, I typically had pretty good luck with the ladies. There was this really hot girl in one of my classes that I was like, dang, you know, she's pretty fine, she's pretty good looking, I'm gonna ask her out. And, you know, I thought she was pretty normal at the time, so no big deal. So, after class one day, I walk up to her, I go, hey, I'm Ryan, I introduce myself, I got her phone number, and we were texting back and forth for a few days, and everything was fine. I thought we kind of clicked, I thought everything was going to be golden. So I ask her out on a date, and of course, she says yes, absolutely, no problem, no hesitation, unequivocally, yes, for sure, I'll go on a date with you. And I'm like, hype, you know, I scored. You know how it is sometimes when you're a nerdy YouTuber and you actually get to talk to a girl in real life, you get a little nervous. I'm kidding, guys. Trust me, I'm not a loser. So I planned this date, and where I went to college, there's a beautiful, like, national park right up the road, probably about 30 minutes. I'm like, all right, well, we'll go up there, you know, we'll hang out, watch the sunset at this overlook, we'll talk, have a good time. I packed a picnic. You know, I was really going all out. Romantic Scrubby was on the case, okay? I am quite the flattering young man. I had a picnic. You know how hard it is for me to cook stuff? All right, I'm a whole 6'3" of nothing but terrible cooking. So for me to take the time and energy to do this, it was a lot. I like the girl, okay? Don't judge me. And so I go to her house to pick her up, and she goes, hey, can you come inside for a minute? I want to show you something. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And the problem starts right when I walk through the door, and the stench that overwhelms me is immediately, like, the most unpleasant thing I've ever smelled, alright? I don't know if this girl was, like, selling dead bodies out of her house or what, but everything smelled absolutely disgusting. There was not a single pleasant scent in this place. I'm talking, it basically smelled like a Chuck E. Cheese ball pit, alright? We're not talking anything good. But, whatever, maybe her roommate is crazy or something, and we get into her room, and as we're approaching her room, the smell is getting worse, so now it's basically confirmed that this girl is the reason that the house smells this way, alright? If I was this girl's roommate, I would be petrified. But here I am like, great. She lives in a pigsty. She lives in a pigsty. And you know, she smelled pretty good outside. Like, we were in class, she smelled pretty tasty. I don't know how the smells didn't cling to her clothes or whatever, because she didn't smell like a dying rat in person, but her room definitely smelt it. So we get to her room and she opens the door, and I can't even see the floor because there's so much stuff everywhere. And you know, I get people get messy. My room gets a little messy sometimes, but we're talking trash, like 3-week-old Taco Bell bags, pizza boxes all over the place. And my thing is, you know, if your room's messy, that's fine. Like, whatever. I'm not gonna judge you. Maybe you got a little messy, things got ahead of you, whatever. But why would you bring me inside to show me this? Like, you wanted me to show me, like, what? I'm picking you up for a date, and you want to show me the fact that you live in your filth 3 times a day? Like, you walk inside, get another pizza box, set it down on the top of the pile, add it to the list. Come on. And you're showing it off to your date. Not a very good look. Nothing flattering about this. This isn't making me want a second one. So she shows me this new shirt she got. It's a pretty cool shirt, I guess. Not that big of a deal. I don't know. It's definitely not worth making me see this disgusting pigsty that was her room. And we go outside and get in the car, and immediately she goes, oh, can I have the aux cord? And I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. You know, I'm trying to forget the nasty stench that I just had in my nose, okay? I'm trying to blow out enough snot to get rid of the smell, all right? I would literally rather sniff the inside of a chloroform rag than continue to have this smell in my nostrils. But yeah, you can play music, whatever. When it comes to music, I'm a pretty open person. There's just one type of music that I absolutely hate, and it's country music, all right? Like, I guess I don't hate country music. I just don't get it, all right? It's not my cup of tea, whatever. And she was always wearing, like, punk rock shirts. I'm really into punk rock, and if you don't like it, that's fine, but that's what I'm into, right? So every time I would see her in class, she'd be wearing, like, a State Champs or a Neck Deep shirt, and I was like, dang, we listen to the same music. That's dope. But for some reason, when she gets the aux cord, she starts playing some country bumpkin, banjo-playing, incest-having country music. So now I'm really not enjoying myself. So I politely go, oh yeah, can I show you some music? And she goes, sure. So I start playing my music. I change the conversation. Whatever. 2 strikes, all right? Country bumpkin music, and you live in filth, and you smell like a dead rat. We're not off to the best start. Whatever. So we get to the lookout. I get my picnic, you know, suave Chef Boyardee out here. I made some raviolis. I don't remember what I made, but it wasn't raviolis, all right? I'm not Chef Boyardee. Remember the commercial where the can would roll around and, like, the kids would follow it? That was Turnt, guys. We need to bring those back. When my kids are young, I'm gonna be like, you've never lived the struggle. You've never had to chase a can of ravioli down the street, all right? You know, I used to do this for miles every day, both directions. I hate when old people do that stuff. And, of course, when I unpack this picnic, you know, she's like, oh, I'm not hungry. And I'm like, what do you mean? I asked you on a date. I said we were gonna come out here and eat. And she's like, oh, yeah, but, like, I already ate because, you know, I felt bad. I didn't want you to have to make me food. Well, listen here, ho, okay? Like, what do you mean? Why would I ask you out and specifically say that we were going to eat if you were just going to eat before? What's the point of that? What type of logic is this? This is not making any sense to me, you know? So here I am with Becky Snacks-a-Lot, ruining my plan to show her my Chef Boyardee picnic, okay? And whatever, I guess it was considerate. Oh, I didn't want to have to pay for you, but like, if I ask you on a date to go eat food, like I specifically say, we'll go here and eat, why would you eat? And you smell like a dead rat. But whatever, fine. I'm a little annoyed, but everything's cool. It's cool. I'm gonna be calm, cool, collected. And then she starts talking about the fact that she's like pagan and she casts spells on people and how she's basically a witch. And I'm like, what do you mean, bro? When we were in biology class, you were so chill. You were like, oh man, I'm kind of a live and let live type of person. I don't really believe in religion. And now we're out here in the middle of nowhere, and I'm about to get human sacrifice for you to make a stinky spell so you can cast me in your room and continue to smell like rat feces. I'm not with it. I don't want to date a witch who eats before our dinner plans, okay? That's just inconsiderate, rude, and not even magical. Not even Harry Potter levels of crazy. So I'm a little curious, so I keep asking her about her witchcraft, all right? Is she out here casting spells in the middle of places? Why does her room smell like a dead rat? Does that have something to do with the magic? I don't know. These are the questions that I need answered. And she starts telling me about how she does sacrifice mice in order to complete her rituals. And I'm like, what? You kill mice? What? Am I out here like PETA? Hello? Somebody give me backup. I'm with a mice killer in the middle of nowhere. Maybe I'm next. I don't know. Maybe her ritual claimed for some white guy blood. I don't know. I'm freaking out. I don't like anybody that kills things, okay? So she keeps telling me about how she's pagan, and she really got into it over the last few weeks, and I'm like, oh my gosh, so you were normal when I met you, but now you're crazy. Got it. Like, I just hit the lottery. The timing lottery, you know? You know, like when you were gonna get something and then you buy it, it goes on sale right after. That's how I'm feeling right about now, all right? Because the normal girl that was really chill is now replaced with somebody sacrificing mice for her pagan ritual. But whatever, I guess at this point I'm definitely like, yeah, date number 2 is not gonna happen. But I continue to be a nice guy because I didn't want her to think that she was weird. Like, I don't want anybody to feel like I'm judging them for being who they are. Like, that's all it was. I just didn't like who she was, you know? So I was being a nice guy, just trying to continue conversation, and she goes, all right, so we're gonna make out? And I'm like, yeah, probably not. And she's like, why? I'm like, I don't know, I'm just not comfortable with it. I don't do that on the first date, which is not true, but after somebody tells you that they sacrifice Stuart Little every 30 seconds, the thing on your mind is not kissing them, not gonna lie. Definitely not my favorite cup of tea is like, in order to set the mood, I really enjoy breaking some mice neck, you know what I mean? So she goes, oh, okay, so we keep having a conversation. She wasn't weird outside of the outside of thinking she was a witch. She wasn't very weird, which sounds stupid to say out loud, but I think you guys get what I'm saying. And so the end of the night comes, and I take her back home, and I go to drop her off at her house because that's what you do. I wasn't gonna leave her in the middle of nowhere. She would have used her wand or her broom to get home because she's a witch, but you know. I was nice. I drove her back home like the gentleman I am in the 21st century. And she leans over and, I mean, shoves her tongue in my throat, all right? Like, it wasn't a nice little gentle kiss. It wasn't some witchcraft. She didn't cast a love potion on me or whatever. She just proceeds to shove her tongue in my throat. So here I am with 2 tongues in my mouth trying to speak parcel tongue or whatever. And I can't have it, bro. It does not feel pleasant. It is not an enjoyable experience. This was not the type of kiss that I wanted. It's not the type of kiss that I thought I was going to enjoy. Absolutely none of this is being enjoyable to me. And so she stops and she goes, I had a great night. I can't wait for our second date. You're such an incredible guy. I'm gonna go read my tea leaves now. I don't remember that part, but she probably said something along those lines, okay? Basically, she expected a second date, and I don't know about that. A second date? A second date after you sacrifice mice, shove your tongue in my throat, smell like a dead rat, and eat dinner? Okay, no. Not gonna happen. People, man. I've dated some weird people. Sadly, this isn't the end of my experience with this girl. When I didn't give her a second date, she got pretty upset about it, but this video is probably reaching its end anyways. It's getting pretty long, so I'll save that for a part 2. If this video gets 7,000 likes, I'll do the part 2 where she put a curse on me. It's a pretty interesting story, so if you guys want to see that, like button. It's important. Anyways, in high school, there was this girl who met this guy in German class, right? And it's weird enough that you're learning German, okay? Everybody knows that what they did in the 1940s was not exactly the nicest thing to ever exist, so I don't know why we teach them that in high school. But regardless, there was this girl who had this German class, right? And in this German class, she sat next to this kid who she thought was kind of cute, and obviously, he thought that she was kind of cute too, so they got to talking. And one thing leads to another, and that talking leads to them kind of going on a date or two, but it's nothing too crazy, all right? Like, just a date or two, nothing like, and then I will bind myself together by screaming the German words of marriage. Like, there was nothing like that, all right? They just went on a date or two, no big deal, no skin off her back, you know, just enough where it's like, oh, we've been on a date, and now we can see if we enjoy each other. And the dates didn't go very well, all right? The girl basically, like, was explaining how on the dates, this guy was basically talking about super creepy things, you know? And just a general rule of thumb for all you guys out there, creeping out a girl is not the best way to make something good happen, all right? Like, no girl wants to hear about creepy things. I guess on the date, the guy was bragging about how, oh, you know, every now and then I'll go in my backyard and hunt squirrels just to feel the thrill of the hunt, which is like, bruh, you're hunting squirrels in your backyards and you're calling it the thrill of the hunt, okay? You know what pest control people call that? A day at the office, all right? But just regardless, he would talk about how, like, he loved killing squirrels for the thrill of it. Just weird stuff. Like, all right, if you're a hunter, that's dope, you know? But when you're describing about how whenever you've had a stressful day at work, you go in the backyard and pop squirrels with a BB gun to let your stress out, it comes off as a little creepy and almost a little bit like I'm gonna end up in your basement in a small vat of acid slowly deteriorating because you're a crazy person. And along with that, on these dates, he would just generally talk about weird stuff. Like, he would be like, yeah, you know, I just know that whoever I end up with is going to have to live a life of basically being my servant. I think men are superior, and it's just crucially important that women know that they're subservient, which, once again, not a good thing to believe, and especially not a good thing to say when you're on a date with a woman. What you basically should do is wear a shirt that says, I think you're garbage, lol. So this guy is bragging about eating squirrels. He's bragging about how this girl is stupider than him, and basically if they stay together, he's going to own her because women are inferior, right? Which makes this girl be like, you know, I think maybe 1 or 2 dates was enough. She gave him a second chance just to see if it was something weird going on, seeing if he was just having an off day, but they get to the end of it and she's like, you know, I'm 99% sure that 1 date is more than enough. I really don't need to have another one. In fact, I'm so confident that I don't need another date that she told him straight up, sent him a text saying that he was a great guy, but she just didn't want to see him anymore, which is kind of a lie. I don't think he's a great guy, but regardless, she was trying to be nice. She was trying to avoid hurting his feelings because she could tell he was a weird kid and she didn't want to make him upset, but it was just one of those things where she's like, hey, you know, I just don't want to date you, which if a girl doesn't want to date you, there's nothing you can do about it, all right? You can't like sue them and legally force them to keep going out with you. So this is just a tip for all you women out there. If a creepy guy is talking about how getting rid of squirrels gives him a thrill and how women are property that deserve to be owned, a nice general tip is you're not nice to him when you break up, because something tells me that that guy isn't gonna take it very well. And obviously, when you tell a crazy person that they're crazy, they don't take it very well. So he gets very offended that she doesn't want to go on a date with him and immediately just starts bombarding her with insults and is basically like, whatever, you're just some 2-bit floozy anyways. I don't care. I never cared about you. Nothing even matters. Like, whatever, you'll regret it because I'm an alpha male. You were too ugly to breed with anyways. Like, dog, okay, what are we, puppies? Are we a bunch of golden retrievers in a kennel? All right, like, calm down, Mr. Man, okay? There's no reason to start throwing around I can't breed with you insults, because chances are if your opening line is I eat squirrels, you're gonna be lucky if any girl gives you the opportunity to have a kid with them in the first place. So way to huck out insults for no reason. I've always found with guys like this that are weirdly insecure, or like weird about that type of stuff, that they're the same people to start throwing out insults like that, and you're kind of like, dude, okay, listen, you're not Brad Pitt. You don't exactly have the choices to be calling anybody ugly or not worth dating, because you have the personality of a squirrel, all right? It's ironic that you love to get rid of them because that's the same personality that you have. So you being like, you're too ugly anyways. Dude, you look like you accidentally fought a rotating tire. You pressed your face against the pavement, got ran over on the freeway, and your face just stayed like that forever. That's what you look like. So you have no room to be calling anybody ugly, okay? But regardless, she tries to let down Crazy Boy pretty easily, and he does not take it very well. And that happens on a Friday. So over the weekend, he proceeds to blow up her phone, calls her close to 300 times, sends her 1,000 texts, something along the lines of switching between, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. Is there anything I can do to make it up to you? And going back to, whatever, you're ugly anyways. I don't even care about you. You're stupid. Your face looks like a marshmallow. Like, you know, just switching back and forth because that's what unstable people do. You know, one second they're like, I'm sorry and I miss you. And the next second they're like, I hope you get hit by a freight train. No cap. All right. Like if you got hit by a car, I would giggle a little bit. I'm not even going to pretend. Like, you know how those people get. So he's doing that all weekend to the point where she finally just blocks his number because he won't stop texting her. Like she's like, dude, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. You keep calling me ugly and saying that I'm not worth interacting with, so stop interacting with me. You're the one who said I'm ugly. You're the one who said you want nothing to do with me, so stop having something to do with me. You're doing this to yourself. And the guy's like, no, I'm sorry, but whatever. She blocks his number, which is fair. At this point, you've been nice for too long. You probably shouldn't have been nice when you were trying to end it with him. You probably should have told him he's a creeper, but regardless, she's like, oh, I was just trying to be nice. And what does creepy psycho ex do? I guess you could even call him an ex, bro. You went on 2 dates and she decided that you were a weirdo, but whatever. For the purpose of the story, the ex, he decides that he needs to go to her house and, meet her in person, because I guess saying creepy things in person works. Except the problem is, at this point, after arguing all day, it's about 1 or 2 in the morning. So he comes to her house and starts throwing rocks at her window. Except this idiot, this moron, doesn't throw like pebbles, okay? No, he starts throwing rocks out her window, and eventually breaks the window with one of the rocks he throws, which is such a romantic gesture. Like, at that point, I'm pretty sure that you need to just own up that this is not gonna work. But no, homeboy really started being like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to break your window, but it's a sign that your attention should be given to me. No, bro, that's a sign that you were a moron. Why are you throwing, like, boulders at her window? But regardless, he breaks her window, and her dad freaks out. He's like, what's going on? And she's like, okay, and tells her dad the situation. And the dad's like, this kid won't leave you alone. Now he's breaking windows on my house. That's it. I'm going to talk to him. So he goes outside, and the door opens, and the dad starts walking out. And the kid in his car, who sees the dad coming out, freaks out and immediately just guns it and starts trying to drive away. Newsflash, it's not a very good idea to drive away from the scene of a crime if the people know who you are. Like, the girl goes, oh yeah, it was Michael, typical Michael breaking my window, and you went, might as well drive away from the scene of the crime. It's not like they know that I'm Michael. Well, newsflash, Michael, they did know it was you because you were the only person that was outside their house throwing rocks at the window late at night like the absolute moron you are. So the dad basically goes on his daughter's phone, calls the boy, and is like, listen, you can either pay for my window or I can contact the police, and I never want you to contact my daughter again. Do you understand? Like, I don't know who you think you are trying to threaten my daughter to try to get back with you, but I can promise you that breaking her window is not the right way to get with her heart. You understand? So you either show up with the money to fix my window tomorrow, or I'm calling the police. So German boy shows up the next morning with the $300 to fix a window. Fixing windows isn't cheap. Trust me, I broke one with an orange one time. That story is somewhere on my channel, but I can promise you that fixing windows is not a cheap experience. You know, I wouldn't recommend breaking anybody's windows at all. But regardless, he shows up, and the dad goes out to meet him, and he goes, can I talk to your daughter? And the dad's like, no, you don't get to show up at my house in 2 a.m, break my window, and then go, hey, can I talk to your daughter? You're lucky I don't call the police. If you ever contact my daughter again over her phone, I promise you that I will call the police. Do you understand? And the kid's like, I just want the best for your daughter. He's like, you don't know my daughter. You went on 2 dates with her, okay? So you mess up, go over there, little buddy. Like, at least the dad had some common sense. He's the only person for the rest of this story that has common sense, because trust me, what I'm about to tell all of you guys about is pretty stupid. You guys are all gonna be like, you're kidding me, right? So regardless, class starts that next Monday, you know, and she goes into German class, and sure enough, the guy walks up to her and starts talking to her. And what does the girl do? Does she go, this man is clearly a psychopath who is mentally unhinged and is willing to break my window to get my attention after spamming me repeatedly, and when I ask him to leave me alone, he doesn't. I should ignore him. No. You know what she does, guys? And I'm sorry. I know it's a subscriber story, so she's gonna watch this. She said that she felt bad for him and started to talk to him again. Listen, I'm telling all you guys right now, if somebody shatters your window, you stop talking to them. If they say that they own you and that you're ugly, you stop talking to them. You don't feel bad for people that are bad people. So she feels bad for this guy, and alright, I guess maybe you can feel bad for him because he's the most socially awkward, inept person of all time who shatters windows as a gesture of romance, but whatever, like, you shouldn't talk to him again, and starts dating him again in secret. She can't tell her parents or anybody that they're dating because, you know, how do you bring that up when you go home? Hey, Dad, remember that kid that broke our window? Yeah, that was kind of awkward. Anyways, I'm dating him again, we're going out. Remember when he called me ugly and said I wasn't worth his time and was not even worth dating? Yeah. Well, I haven't learned my lesson, you know? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you can't put the blame on you. Fool me 3 times, F the peace sign, load the chopper, let it rain on you. Shout out to J. Cole. And that's my motto, alright? If you get fooled once and fall for the same scam again, then you deserve to get scammed. Call me crazy, but I really mean that. I really do. I'm sorry. If you start dating the crazy squirrel boy who shattered your window after he shattered your window, then you're taking an L, a massive L, an L of which has never been seen before. The scale of the L you are taking is unfathomable. It's so unfathomable, I can't even talk, and I can always talk pretty well. So she goes on another date with the kid, and this time he's basically talking to her about how they're gonna get married and how there's nothing that she can do with it, and it's fate because if she didn't break up with him after he broke her window, then it shows that that she is secretly in love with him and wants to run away with him. And she's like, dog, I'm 15. I don't know what you're talking about. And homeboy was a whole 18, which, you know, it's weird, okay? I'm sorry, it's weird. But, you know, it's not a very good thing. But regardless, this guy is going on and on about how they need to run away together and finally says, we just need to get your dad out of the picture. At which point the girl goes, wait, what? And he says, yeah, your dad's not going to let us be together, so I figured the best way to get him out of the way was to just make him hate us. So what I think we should do is we should tell him that we're dating. And the girl's like, look, man, I just was going on another date with you because I felt bad. I wasn't saying that, like, I wanted to spend the rest of my life with you. I was just kind of dating you for now because, I don't know, I'm just dating you for now. This isn't like a long-term thing, okay? I'm dating you in secret. Which, you know, with a track record of, I don't know, breaking windows, should have let you know that it probably wasn't a good idea. Maybe that this was going to end badly and the kid was going to get immensely, incredibly angry at the fact that you were, going to dump him after he already went insane once after you dumped him. I'm sorry. If this makes me lose the subscriber that sent me this story, you've got like 4 brain cells. You are not thinking clearly. What were you thinking? And of course, he snaps again and says that she's not allowed to leave the date until she commits to him, bro. He literally locks the car door and basically says, I'm not letting you out of the car until you admit that you want to date me, bro. Which is like not a good way to get somebody to date you, dude. I'm just questioning all of this guy's life choices. He was like, you know what I think would be a super smart idea? If I just, tried to kidnap the girl I was dating. That would make her want to date me for sure. Nothing says romance like, I don't know, kidnapping people. Like, oh, yeah, you want to know how me and your mom met, kids? Well, it's real simple. I locked her in a car and said she's not allowed to leave at all. And if she tried to leave, I was just basically going to sell her to the highest bidder. You know the guy from Star Wars, The Fly, who was like selling Luke Skywalker's or Anakin Skywalker's mom? That's what this guy is, all right? Like, I'm gonna be honest. It's not a good wave to get a girl to want to date you. That's the real truth of the situation. So the girl tries to get her phone and call her dad and be like, look, I'm with this guy. I know I'm an idiot. And the guy just takes her phone and shuts it off. But thankfully, before he like grabbed the phone and shut it off, the call had gone through. And so he didn't shut it off as in like turned it off. He had just like turned the screen off. You know what I mean? So the dad obviously hears this commotion and hears the guy's voice and is like, what is going on? So he had the location of his daughter's phone, thankfully. Could you imagine calling the cops? They're like, well, where's your daughter? Is she in danger? You're like, yes, she's in danger. Well, where is she? Well, I don't know. All I know is that she called me and she's in danger. So he drives to his daughter's location, obviously pulls up, see that he is like preventing her from getting out of the car. And the boyfriend is like, no, your daughter needs to answer this question. If she doesn't answer this question, then I can't go on in life. And the dude is like, let my daughter out of your car, you psychopath. And the guy's like, no, like, she needs to answer my question. And call me crazy. I would never fight an angry dad. I feel like that's the most dangerous person to try to square up against, is like a dad whose daughter you are currently locking inside of a car is probably not a good idea. So finally the dad goes, I can call the cops. And the kid's like, fine, whatever. I guess you can get out of the car. And so she gets out, and the dad's like, if you ever talk to him again, there's going to be a problem. He calls the school and is basically like, I need her switched out of this German class immediately. Like, if you ask questions, this is stupid. I need her switched out. And the school switches her out of the class, right? And she thinks that's the last that she's going to see of German boy. But as you can tell, there's more time left in the story, so that's not the case. A couple months go by, and she starts to date this new guy who I'm going to name Mark. And Mark's a nice guy. Mark doesn't try to kidnap you. Mark doesn't say that you have to date him. Mark doesn't say that you're ugly and that he deserves to be with somebody hotter. That's just not Mark's personality. Mark is the type of guy who cares for his girlfriend and wants the best for her. A real stand-up guy. A real Mark, if you will. Everybody knows a good guy named Mark, except for me. I don't actually know anyone named Mark now that I think about it. And German boy didn't exactly take kindly to Mark being her new boyfriend. And basically, Mark starts getting letters sent to his house written in what appears to be squirrel blood. I don't know how he knew it was squirrel blood, but I'm guessing once they figured out it was German boy, they could figure it out, saying that he basically has a week to break up with this girl, otherwise he is gonna end up missing. Like, wow, what an ominous threat. I wonder who is threatening this girl's new boyfriend. Could it be the crazy ex that tried to kidnap her? The world may never know. And regardless, Mark decided that the best course of action would be to just straight up fight this dude. So he walked up to German boy and was like, if you keep sending threatening things to my house, I'm gonna fight you. And the German boy was like, you won't dare fight me. I'm a pure alpha male. I'm an indication and a symbol of male strength, which is just a weird way to say that you think you're an alpha male, bro. And says, yeah, Mark, let's fight. Let's fight for this woman's hand. And Mark's like, dude, she can pick who she wants to date, dog. Like, I'm not gonna fight for a woman's hand. A woman has the right to choose who she wants to date, which is accurate, Mark. And all you girls out there, if guys fight over you, I wouldn't pick either of them, okay? I just feel like that's just a bad sign if they're like, you don't have a say in who owns you, all right? I get to own you if I win this fight. Like, you're not something to own, all right? Like, respect yourself a little more, okay? But regardless, Mark and German boy fight in the lunchroom, and I guess all that squirrel hunting and savagery doesn't translate over to actual combat very well because German boy just gets obliterated. Like, apparently Mark was basically at one point slamming his head on the lunch table and talking to him in between slams, telling him to admit defeat, and the German boy was like, no, I'll never admit defeat, for losing is not in my DNA. Listen, man, you know, the whole, like, I'm tough, losing's not in my DNA thing. Like, okay, all right, it's cool, you know, it sounds tough, but I'm telling you now, it's only really tough when you're not getting your head slammed on the lunch table in front of everybody. Once you're automatically losing the fight by that much, it's okay to admit defeat. Nobody's going to be too angry at the fact that you're admitting that you're not tough enough to repeatedly get your head slammed on a lunch table without giving up. It's all right to give up at that point. And I guess, you know, finally, it ends because German boy just can't fight, and they get taken to the principal's office, and the German boy starts explaining that he was fighting for his woman's hand and honor, and so the dean's office is like, what do you mean? This was about a girl? And Mark's like, no, it's not about a girl, and has to explain the entire situation. So German boy inadvertently lets the dean's office find out about everything, the letters, all of it. And the dean's is basically like, look, dude, we can't let you stay in our school. Like, if you're gonna be sending threatening letters to people, fighting people, then you're a danger, and you have to go. And now German boy got sent to a behavior school for bad kids, where kids who basically have behavioral issues go. And now he's gonna get his head slammed on a lot more lunch tables. But yeah, moral of the story is don't date crazy people. And if you do date crazy people and they show you that they're crazy, maybe, just maybe, this is a crazy idea here, I don't know if you guys can agree, you shouldn't date them again. Get in a car with them, and then after they kidnap you, basically just try to pretend that they don't exist. Maybe you should just avoid crazy people the first time, you know? Like, I get it. If you get into a relationship without seeing the red flag, that's understandable. But if you see the red flag and choose to ignore it, that's on you. That's not really anybody's fault, you know? So I guess don't date crazy people is a good moral of the story.
So in my junior year of high school, I was sitting back dating this girl. For the purpose of the story, I'm gonna name her Clarice. Oh God, I would never date a girl named Clarice. But also, okay, if she had a great personality, I might date. You guys get what I'm saying, okay? Her name was Clarice in the story. That's not her real name. If your name's Clarice, please don't be offended. I deeply apologize. So me and Clarice were dating for close to like 4 or 5 months at this point. It was a decently long relationship, and I thought everything was going great. I was like, you know, she's not annoying. I wasn't in love or anything, but she definitely was a pretty solid girlfriend, so things kept going and kept progressing because that's what you do, you know? You find somebody you like and you keep dating them. It's not too complicated. It's not rocket science. Or that's what I thought. Dun dun dun. Play the Jaws theme song, because here comes the crazy part. Towards the end of me and Clarice's relationship, I started to notice that she was really, really, really close with one of her guy friends. Which I don't mind, I get it, you know, everybody has friends, but when I mean close, it's almost like the emo girl thing again, where like you're too close, you know? When your guy friend knows everything about our relationship and is constantly giving you advice, yeah, it's gonna make me uncomfortable, not gonna lie. But of course, I trusted her, and they were just friends, no big deal, no skin off my back, right? Well, that's what I thought. So one morning I got to school a little bit earlier than normal. Usually I would show up at like 6:50 and school started at 7. Just because I live pretty close to the school and no one wants to show up earlier to school than they have to. Also, why do we start school so early in high school? Like, come on, I was literally waking up at, 6 in the morning, and that was awful. I couldn't imagine if you're a girl that has to get ready and stuff. That's just unfair. Or like you have to ride a bus, you have to wake up at 5:30. Nope. High school, listen, if you're listening to this, and any superintendents, make your school start later, or I swear I will come over there and do a 360 kickflip on your grandma. So for whatever reason on this day, I think I had to take a test or something. I show up to school at like 6:30, which is 20 minutes before I usually show up. And I'm walking through the courtyard in our school. We have like a courtyard with trees and stuff. I know, pretty fancy, not gonna lie. If you guys ever feel sophisticated, just remember that my school had a courtyard and yours doesn't. So So I'm walking through our garden courtyard thing. That sounded so stupid. And walking towards me, I see Clarice and her friend, which is fine, you know, maybe they walk to school together. I don't know. I'm not too pressed about it. I don't think anything of it. And then I pay a little bit closer attention and she's holding hands with her friend, which is just, listen. Okay, I appreciate you being stupid enough to get caught cheating, you dumb hoe. But like, if you're gonna cheat on somebody, maybe don't do it in a public place where I know hundreds, if not thousands of people. Like, I don't know, at school. Maybe not the best idea to try to get away with it there. That's my personal opinion, though. Yeah, you do you. Don't cheat on people in general, but if you are, like, at least be smart about it. So whatever, you know, Clarice and her best friend are walking towards me holding hands. I don't think they saw me. So I just walk up to him and go, hey guys, what's up? And they go, oh, hey. And then she realizes it's me, and the look on her face was the most priceless thing I've ever seen. Just imagine somebody knowing that they just got busted robbing a bank. That's a similar look. So she looks like she's about 3 seconds from shitting herself. And her friend looks super uncomfortable, lets go, and like goes, I gotta go to class, and walks away. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but they don't want this smoke. Blue face, baby. Pull up on your block and I bleed it, you know? So I just look at her and I'm like, do you want to try to explain yourself? And she's like, no, it wasn't what it looked like. You see, And she tries to tell me, listen to this stupid story. She tries to tell me that her hands were cold, and so she was holding hands with them to warm them up, and that was it. They were not holding hands for any other reason. Which, first of all, if you're dating someone, your hands are cold. Don't hold hands with somebody else, you idiot. Second of all, I would have maybe potentially bought it if it wasn't 80 degrees at 6 a.m. because we live in the middle of the desert and it's hot. So I just go, yeah, that's just not true, you know, nice attempt at a lie. And she's like in tears at this point and just goes, no, like, I'm so sorry. Please don't break up with me. And I'm getting guilt tripped, okay? I'm starting to get emotional. I'm like, look, you know, like, please don't cry, because then I'm gonna cry, because, like, I feel bad. I don't know why I felt bad. This was the dumb bitch that was cheating on me. It's not my fault that you're an idiot. So, I'm getting a little teary-eyed, because I don't like making people upset, okay? I'm overly loyal to the point where it's a fault. I am too nice to people that are mean to me if we're, like, best friends, you know? And this person, Clarice and I, were pretty tight. We had talked every day for hours and hours at this point for the last few months. I thought I liked her. And, come to find out, she was just cheating on me, you know, 2-time, and I was the side piece, guys. Can I get a like in the chat for being the side piece? Rest in peace, Scrubby's dignity, once and for all. So I decided, yeah, no, I ain't sticking around. I'm sorry, you cheat on me. That's over, you know? And when I decide it's over, she starts to get triggered. Well, whatever, I don't even care. You meant nothing to me anyways. And now I'm like, damn, girl, you were begging for me to get back together with you like 30 seconds ago. What do you mean? Are you that bipolar? Are you the weather on a Tuesday? Like, calm down here, lady. You're begging me to stay with you, and now you don't care? Fine, don't care then. Bye. And, yeah, that was the end of me and Clarice's relationship when I walked in on them cheating on me. The guy ended up coming up to me a little bit later in the day and was like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I didn't know that you were gonna be upset. Okay, listen here, mozzarella cheese stick looking boy. What did you expect to happen? You expected to, you know, I don't know, make my girlfriend cheat on me and then me be like, oh, bro, it's cool. Don't even sweat it. Like, are you really surprised that I was mad at you? Really? Are you that brain dead? But whatever, it's in the past. I'm way happier now. Clarice, if you're watching this, I have a raccoon YouTube channel with 50,000 subscribers and you don't, so